The winner of this game will go on to the Vanier Cup in 2 weeks' time. We look at the head coach of the Regina Rams, Frank McChrystal. Since 1984, he has been their head coach, won many junior titles with this proud program in its second year in the CIAU.
There's Blake Nill, the head coach at St. Mary's University, defensive coordinator at Standard X. He's been in this game for the second year in a row, hoping to get another trip back to the Vanier.
And that is the voice of Jamie Bone, who joins me again for our coverage of CIAU football here on TSN. We are glad you're with us. This is the first of two. After this game, we'll go to John Wells and Glen Tudor for the Churchill Bowl at Les Prince Field in Hamilton. The McMaster Marauders hosting the Ottawa UGGs. The winner of that one takes on the winner here, and we're just getting underway. You're joining us just in time with Chris Breckenridge and St. Mary's in their dark uniforms, about to kick it off to the Regina Rams to get this 2000 Atlantic Bowl underway. Taken down at the 15 and not much more, up to about the 25-yard line on the return for the Rams, who had a couple of upsets along the way to get this far.
And the Regina offense, the backfield led by quarterback Darrell Leeson, the All-Canadian back in 1997 at Calgary. Fullback Blitz, Hughes, a running back from a week ago. Great receivers, and the offensive line.
And the offensive line there, they added two guards in Junior Gahn and Greg Hamilton, who played junior football in Victoria last year, and that complements that O-line very well. On a first down, this is Darrell Leeson. Previously played university football with the Calgary Dinos. Before that, he was a star in junior football with the Regina Rams, won 3 national championships. Back with this team, and a big reason why they're here today. Handing off on first down, and the Huskies have it stuffed. Going with Neil Hughes, his star back, who caught the touchdown pass that won it for them in Winnipeg last week in the Hardy Cup.
Second-ranked defense in the nation, led by Eric Lyman, defensive line, Morrison, Borden, and Irwin. And the secondary, of course, Watson and Labuki are the corners. Aruda Nash are the all-conference halfbacks, and Phil Roberge at safety. And
that defense has changed a little bit. The whole linebacking core had to change. It was a good defense last year when St. Mary's and Blake Nill went all the way for the national championship game, the Vanier Cup, losing to Laval. Second down and long. Actually a loss of about a foot in the play. And Leeson setting up the screen, and beautifully done. Wide open is Neil Hughes across the 30, close to a first down. But Dennis Aruda takes him down just shy of the 35, and they won't have it.
And, you know, that's an interesting call by Regina right now. Neil Hughes looks like he's a little hurt there afterwards, but they're expecting St. Mary's to come after them all day long. This is a pressure and attitude style defense. You see what he does. They get the big rush in there. They run the screen over to Hughes. Good job coming up here by Labuki to make the tackle. Keep him short of the first down, force him into a punting situation. And interesting here, Rod, because the wind is really blowing hard here today, right in Regina's face right now. They're 3rd and 1. Talked to Blake Nill before the game. He said, you know, in 3rd and short into the wind, we might even go for it, but Regina's decided not to do that.
And John Ryan will stand at his 20 to get this one away. A strong breeze. You look at Travis Tyler, number 18, to return it. They bring him. Kyle Morrison nearly gets to it. And the punt goes down to the 45 of the Huskies, and Labucky with it and gets maybe a yard. And that's where the Huskies will go to work with this guy, quarterback Ryan Jones. Jamie?
Ryan Jones leading a talented group of receivers, and Tyler, Curry, Fleming, and Shields, and the running backs Perez and Dean Jones.
This offensive line, because of an injury to All-Star Kelly Ireland, they had to make changes in what Colin Oldgrave at center, but it's much the same as the O-line that led that offense last year. That's the only change in Morley at left tackle as well. From their 47, Ryan Jones, Heck Triton Trophy nominee, play action fake right away, goes to work over the middle. Paul Fleming completed inside the 20 down to the 15. A big play right off the bat for the Huskies.
This is an incredible play by St. Mary's, the way they want to start off. But the key thing is here, Rod, take a look at the time that Ryan Jones has. There's absolutely no pass rush. They take Fleming straight down the seam. And then Regina Gamble here, the secondary man, comes up and misses it. He's got to come across a little bit deeper than that. That's a safety, Sackhires. And a big play for St. Mary's right off the bat.
Gain of 49 yards. Ryan Jones to Paul Fleming, handing off this time to Lewis. Perez has a hole up the middle, and another good gain down to the Regina 5 just inside. Big test so far for this Regina defense up front. 360-pounder Terry Seidlitz, 19 years of age, there at tackle to stuff things up in the middle.
And the secondary, Dean and Moffat on the corners. You got McKee, Vanella at halfbacks, and Sackars is the safety.
It is a first down and goal. Perez got enough for the first down there. They hand off again. Touchdown, Huskies. What a start for St. Mary's. Just a 3-play drive, and they hit pay dirt early in this Atlantic Bowl.
And you know, this is what they call simple isolation, where they take the fullback, Luis Perez. He leads through the gap between the guard and the tackle, and he goes searching for the linebacker, makes a great block, and then Dean Jones cuts underneath.
And so Chris Breckenridge will line it up and see if he can make it a 7-point game. Huskies wanting to start quickly, see if they can bury the Rams early and shake their confidence. This will certainly help, albeit remember that the Rams have been used to coming back, and they have been down before every time. They're down early here in Halifax thanks to this. Luis Perez. Back after this.
Black.
Neil Hughes on the return of this kickoff after St. Mary's just scored a touchdown on their first drive. And here's a look at what happened, Jamie.
Let's take a look. Well, Steve Borley, the left tackle, is going to make a great block here, and then Hakeem is going to come here and search into the linebacker right here. And then you're going to see Luis Perez take the handoff from Ryan Jones and get into the end zone. Really good job of making the block, getting onto the linebacker, and then Perez takes it in for 6.
A conference all-star, Luis Perez, has scored 7 touchdowns during the regular season. And the scoring drive brought to you by Panasonic PalmLink, the only two-way radio with private talk. 3 plays, 73 yards. Boy, did they work quickly with the wind, I might add. It is a strong wind and an obvious benefit to any team heading that way. It's a stiff one against Regina right now.
You know, we saw how quickly St. Mary's scored in that last drive, and you know, we want to put some things in perspective here. St. Mary's come in today, Rob, with the 2nd best defense in the nation. Regina comes in to this game with the 22nd best defense. They had an average of 35 points scored against them this year, so they've done it all with offense, and in particular the leadership and talent of Darrell Leeson.
They have beaten teams that beat them badly in the regular season, so you know that they're good for a comeback, and they try to get something going right here. The pass over to Corey Olenek, and it's a catch, ruled a catch up at the 39, and a pickup of about 6 yards for the Rams.
But you can see some of the pressure that St. Mary's coming with. You know, they want to try to contain Darrell Leeson because he's also a threat to run. Last week against Manitoba, he had 417 yards passing. But what also hurt them is that he rushed for 121 yards. He's big, 6'4", 230 pounds. This guy can make a lot of things happen.
2nd in passing yardage in the CIAU, behind only Ben Chapdelaine, who will play later today for McMaster in the Churchill Bowl in Hamilton. And passing here, Leeson to Neil Hughes, who was his favorite target last week in the Hardy Cup, and that's a first down for the Rams. They'll move the sticks, moving against the wind. Neil Hughes was the one with 8 seconds to go, Jamie, that caught the touchdown pass that got them to this game.
Well, you know, he had 10 catches last week for 209 yards, and of course the big one was with 8 seconds left, as you just mentioned. Blake Neal said, you know, he looked at that tape and he said it was amazing that he was surprised that Manitoba didn't cover him after he had 5, 6, 7 catches. They just left him alone. He said, I guarantee you today we'll have somebody on Neil Hughes.
They had a nice wrinkle. Bernie Schmidt, their offensive coordinator. They made it work. They had a number of plays that worked so well with Hughes. Hughes himself was amazed, he said afterward, that he was so open on such a critical drive. They're running the football now, and it's Neil Hughes again on the ground, getting up across the 45 to the 46. A jack of all trades, catching it and running the ball as well.
And this is what Regina want to do, especially against the wind right now, is they want to maintain ball control, keep the ball away from St. Mary's with the wind at their back. Neil Hughes taking an education degree at University of Regina. It's amazing when you look at this Regina club because they might only lose 1 or 2 guys because they came into the league last year. Most of them have only lost 2 years at the most, 2 years of eligibility.
Darrell Leeson will be one of the very few to go, and of course he's a key component. But yes, this is a young team. Many of them just having played junior football a couple of years ago. Big play there for Regina. It's Olenek again, his second catch of the day, and a big first down working against the wind to the 45. Rams are in business.
And this is a real great throw by Darrell Leeson, because the wind is really blowing hard in his face. Taking the snap, they got 3 receivers to the left. Olenik's inside, then they just run him on a little out. No one's got him. St. Mary's caught in zone. Now, St. Mary's is not a big zone team. They like to come with a lot of pressure and play man coverage. So when you see them in zone, they're going to try and run that inside receiver outside of the flat and try and clear with the 2 outside receivers.
Darrell Leeson 4 for 4, and that was a gain of 18 for number 18, Corey Olenek, as Regina is on the move.
And also think about what Leeson brings to this team is he's probably on the sideline saying, hey, don't panic. Don't worry about it. I mean, they scored big on us. That doesn't mean anything. He looks very confident out there. Doesn't look rattled at all, and that's what experience will do for you.
And it's just the recent experience too, Jamie, against Calgary, in Winnipeg against U of M. They fell behind. They were down in the 4th quarter in those games, and they rallied. They won dramatically on the last play against the Dinos. They kicked a single. John Ryan, the rookie, kicked one through, and they won it by 1. And then they had that one to Neil Hughes in the Hardy Cup. There's a hold up here right now on a first down, waiting for the first down play by Regina.
And think about where this team has come from. 0-8 a year ago. No one gave them really much of a chance this year. I know when Leeson came in, they thought, okay, they might win a couple of games. But he has really turned this team around. 4-4 in the regular season, and then those 2 stunning upset victories in the playoffs. And Frank McChrystal's only 1 game away to going to the big show.
And if ever there is a junior football program that could move into the CIAU and succeed, it is this one. The Regina Rams are legendary. In Canadian junior football, 15 championships in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, including 5 in a 6-year period before they joined the CIAU. It was time to move on. Play fake, Leeson, back to pass, over the middle, and it's complete. Jason Claremont has the big catch, and Regina's drive continues with some big passing plays.
This is really impressive, especially against this wind, to be able to throw the ball like this. But the key here is Regina do a great job of picking up the blitz. St. Mary's are coming with linebackers. They pick them all off. Leeson puts the ball up nice and high. And Jason Claremont, 6'3", 220 pounds, very, very good, talented athlete. The top receiver in Canada West in terms of yardage.
And an all-star, and he was this team's nominee for the Heck Crichton. He won't be the Canada West nominee, but considered the Regina Rams MVP, and that's an MVP-type play from Leeson to Claremont. Rams are threatening. Little bootleg off to the left. He scored a touchdown on this play last week, and Leeson's still running. And he's taken down by Dennis Arruda inside the 5.
Shows you that Darrell Leeson, we talked about how he rushed last week, and he's got pretty good wheels for a big man. We said 6'3", 230 pounds. They try to run outside of Kyle Morrison, who St. Mary's feel may be their best athlete on defense. You can see he's trying to make a stab at the ball. But Leeson takes it down to close to scoring position.
And as you mentioned, he can run with the football as well.
I mean, he's second in rushing on this football team now, Darrell Leeson. 62 rushes, 376 yards.
So what a great response by the visiting Regina Rams, down 7-0. But on this, their second drive, working against a stiff breeze, passing and running and threatening. And a flag is down right from the get-go, as Leeson has nothing to do with the ball and is taken down.
Offside on that.
Frank McChrystal thinks he has the call. Offside against St. Mary's.
Offside, St. Mary's number 2.
Indication is
First down.
St. Mary's.
It's Matthew Demers, the all-conference outside linebacker.
They move that half the distance down, and a 1st and goal. Their road to the Vanier Cup, an unlikely one when they were 2-4 in mid-October, and then they have won 4 straight games. They finished the regular season with an even record. They defeat Manitoba dramatically in the Hardy Cup last week. They were winless, 0-8 last year in their first in the CIAU after having won a junior championship the year before. And they're winning again, and they're loving it. And I don't know how well they relish being an underdog, but it's been working well so far. Handing off, trying to get it in. Touchdown is signaled. Rams are on the board.
Well, this is wild because they take Neil Hughes out, and guess who they put in at tailback? They put in Jason Claremont. And they also bring in Jeff Zimmer, the linebacker, and make him one of the blocking backs. They go to the power I formation, and Claremont has the first touchdown for the Regina Rams. Normally lines up in the slot position. Line up in the power eye to the left. Just that straight handoff. You can see they move that big pile. And Claremont just makes it into the end zone. But a good initial blocking up front by Jeff Zimmer, number 42. And this crowd has been silenced.
After such a great drive by St. Mary's, they're going to have to get the momentum back again, because it's Regina's with that convert by John Ryan to tie this game up. 7 apiece. Couple of drives back and forth the length of the field. Regina's impressively against the wind. We got a game here in the 2000 Atlantic Bowl on TSN. Scored the tying touchdown. Now this man, John Ryan, would like to kick it off, except the wind has picked up so much it blew the ball off the tee, so they'll perhaps have a holder this time. It's blowing against them.
You know, this is interesting, Rod, because I think at this point in time in a game, I think John Ryan should come back and try and sky the ball as high as he can to try and get the wind to kind of hold it up, and then they can run down and maybe get a chance at recovering the football.
Now it's without any aid, settling for the kickoff by Ryan in a tie game, and it does go up high and it settles down for Stephen Marquez, who takes it up to the 39-yard line for St. Mary's, where Ryan Jones and company will come on to work again. Well, they drove the length of the field, 9 plays, 81 yards in just over 3 minutes time. And of course the key play, Claremont, who'd end up scoring the touchdown on a 30-yard catch, but he scored running at short yardage. A scoring drive brought to you by Panasonic Palm Link, the only two-way radio with private talk. Claremont, the MVP of the Regina Rams. A good start for him and Leeson in that offense, too, working against the breeze. Ryan Jones working with it again. They needed only 3 plays to get their first touchdown. And another big hole for Luis Perez, the man who scored that one St. Mary's touchdown, has a first down across the 50.
The St. Mary's know that Regina like to play a lot of zone defense. They put 3 receivers to one side, they 2 to the other, with an ace backfield, spread everybody out, then let the big offensive lineman up front create those holes and let Perez run through.
One of the keys for Frank McChrystal, the head coach of Regina, he told us this morning, Jamie, he'd be concerned if St. Mary's could run the ball consistently well, and so far they have. First and 10. Huskies at their 50. Passing to the side for Jason Curry, nothing doing. It's read nicely, and he is taken down by Chris Ashman, number 26. Blake Nill and the Huskies. This was their road to the Vanier Cup, an unbeaten season. Ranked number 2, number 1 for a while, and then dropped the number 2 behind Laval heading into the playoffs. Beat Acadia by 20. The Jewett Trophy game, the Atlantic Championship last week. They lost to Laval. The Vanier last year by only 4 points. That's their mission, to get back and win it this time. A tough Regina team is standing in the way. Pump fake Jones under pressure, gets out of the pocket. Won't have a first down. He is taken down at midfield and really got hit hard, rocked as he goes down.
That was a great job by Corey McKee, the inside halfback for Regina, to come up, making sure he stayed with his receiver until Jones crossed the line of scrimmage and then came up and just lowered the boom on him. Ryan Jones back in the pocket. They're coming with a bit of a blitz. Playing man coverage. McKee comes up here and stops him from getting the first down and lays a big lick. And every time you get a chance to hit a QB, they're going to unload on him.
McKee and Brian Scott in there as well. St. Mary's punting game is not strong. Dave Stahl is the punter, averaging just over 30 yards a kick. But standing at his 40, as we've talked about so much so far, he does have a big breeze at his back. Still gusting. And heading towards that Regina end zone, and those back obviously respecting that fact. But it's not particularly good. Carries up and down to around the 20. A flag is down for no yards, and it's Ashman on the return and not getting much after a 37-yard punt with the win. Regina football, this time starting from their 20-yard line in a 7-7 tie. This is the Atlantic Bowl on TSN. Think of two institutions in the Maritimes, the Atlantic Bowl and our own Alex J. Walling, who once again is manning the sidelines. Alex?
I've been doing this for 10, but the bowl game, Rod, has been around for 41 years, starting in 1959 with a handful of people. Now the place is jammed, 7,000 to 10,000 people. I'd say, Rod, 99% are waiting and hoping to see the Huskies return to the Vanier Cup. But we got ourselves a great game, and the Regina Rams may think differently.
Thank you, Alex. Yes, you can't safely assume anything about this game so far, but it is a wonderful spectacle every year, Jamie.
Oh, it's a great spectacle. I know Alex said 41 years, but there were 2 years they didn't have the Atlantic Bowl. That was 65 and 66. So the only 2 years they didn't play it. That's why it's 39 years. 39
games. And Olnick takes a hard hit there. Pierre Paulouet on the tackle there on first down. Curtis Nash in it as well. A good gain on first, though, for the Rams.
This is so important for Regina right now. They've done a really good job of eating away the clock with the wind in their face, establishing the running game. Anytime you can get yourself into second and short situations, 2nd and 3, as Regina finds themselves in, boy, that opens up a lot of possibilities for you on offense, and it keeps St. Mary's back on their heels.
Frank McChrystal, Regina born, a Ram through and through, played for the Rams in the early 70s, was an assistant, later became the coach in 1984, and won many national titles. Flags down. Matthew Demers all over Leeson, but it looked like St. Mary's jumped offside, unless they're arguing they were drawn.
Now, how often do you see that? When I saw Demers wrap up Leeson, Demers is about 4 inches shorter and probably about 10 pounds lighter. I mean, you don't usually see a linebacker smaller than a quarterback.
Offside, St. Mary's, number 45, 5 yards, first down.
And it is Pierre Paulouet called for that. However, you as a quarterback like to see a linebacker smaller than a quarterback, don't you?
You always like to see that.
You don't mind them running you down. You just don't want to get pounded by them into the turf. Well, this guy, he can do both. He's strong. Very strong. Matthew Demers in another all-star year here with the Huskies. But with that, they have a first down, the Rams do. And like the last time, driving the ball down the field. They've got it now. Starting at their 20, they're up at the 37. 1st and 10, Darrell Leeson and the visiting Rams. One of the big stories in Canadian University football this year. Passing, Hughes. He breaks a tackle, gets by Curtis Nash, up the sideline, big first down, and down to the St. Mary's 42.
Well, you talk about a big-time move. You just saw one there by Neil Hughes. I think Curtis Nash has to go back and find his uniform because I think he left it back there. This is just an incredible move by Neil Hughes. Now, you can tell this is a team that also plays on turf out in Regina. Just leak him out of the backfield into the flat, but look at that move. Wow. Stop on a dime and then burst and get straight up the field, north-south. Looks like he's got the angle on him, just overruns the play, and then he cuts it up hard. This is a really nice job by Neil Hughes.
And these were the kind of plays that frustrated Manitoba last week and ultimately led to that touchdown by Hughes to win the Hardy Cup. Once again, on the bootleg, and throwing nearly intercepted. It was touched by a Husky. So falls incomplete. It'll be second down.
Well, that's real tough when you're a right-handed quarterback sprinting to the left and not being able to work upfield towards a receiver. And plus, you had a linebacker coming down, bearing on you, and there was very good coverage out there in the secondary. Trefton Bowlers did a nice job. Almost came up with the interception.
Trefton Bowlers, one of the 6 Huskies to come out of the Alberta Juniors. He played for the Edmonton Huskies, played against the Regina Rams.
So a lot of these guys have played against each other, but in junior football.
One of them, Dean Jones, running back with the Huskies, said, "I thought I was done with them when I left Edmonton." Here they are, back and in the CIU, setting up the screen. Olenek, he's had a busy half. Corey Olenek, and he gets down close to the 30.
This is really nice how they set up the screen because it's like a screen option. They leak Hughes actually out to the right side, and they try to look like they're running screen to the right. Then they sneak Olenek, who's a slot back, and they run him over to the left side, and they deal the ball to him. Really nicely set up, and I believe Leeson does have an option on this one to see whoever is open best. Take a look. See, Olenek, number 18 there. He's coming in. He's going to hang out and slide over there, but they fake, pump fake to the right, then they come back to Olenek, slide out the offensive line, and then he works himself up the field.
Corey Olenek recently was injured, left foot ligament damage. Looking healthy today. He and Hughes have been the big weapons for Leeson, although Claremont does have the touchdown. Leeson calling his own number, gets good yardage again on the ground, and another Regina first down inside the 20.
You know, a smart move by Leeson here. I wonder if this is kind of called because St. Mary's are trying to line up in the A-gap with the linebackers. Demers inside. They're coming with the A-gap blitz inside. Leeson sees, hey, they're weak outside. They don't have anybody outside. Take a look at the Mares. He's right here in the middle here. He's coming up and trying to come up into this gap. And Leeson sees it, and then he just tries to take it outside on his own. And I'm wondering if they had a play try to run up there. He just realizes, you know what, I know we can't pop that thing inside. I'm just going to take it down the line of scrimmage.
And a gain of 14 yards, another first down for the Rams. But despite going against the breeze, are threatening again here in the first quarter.
You can see Frank McChrystal, Darrell Leeson, not a bad average. 12.5 yards per carry. He's really meant a lot. You know, he was here with the Rams back in the early 90s and won 3 straight championships with the Regina Rams in junior football. Was Player of the Year in 1995 in the Junior Football League in Canada. Then he went to Calgary, of course. We talked about him there, and left Calgary under a bit of a.
Well, their current quarterback and a friend of his, Lincoln Blumell, got the starter's job in 1999 in preseason, and Leeson didn't like it, had a disagreement with Tony Fasano, the Dinos head coach, so he left and he played senior ball in Calgary.
And he went back home to Regina and hooked up with the Rams again this year.
And trying to lead them to another championship, this time a university championship, as the Rams became affiliated with the University of Regina. That's how it all came about 2 years ago. Leeson under pressure, end zone, touchdown, and it's Claremont again.
I'll tell you, this Jason Claremont, a great receiver. This was a heck of a play by Claremont to get to this ball. Leeson under tremendous pressure, standing in the pocket. Leeson's under tremendous pressure because St. Mary's are bringing everybody. See, Demers comes straight up the middle and he hangs in there and he throws the ball to the right side. Claremont had actually settled a little bit farther outside, saw the ball was thrown inside, made a great adjustment to get to the football. Second touchdown of the afternoon, and Regina have this crowd dead silent.
The silence is awfully loud now as they go to convert. Ryan does it, working against the breeze, and soon they will have it at their backs here in the first quarter. This impressive Regina offense led by Darrell Leeson has put the Rams ahead 14-7.
And you know,
Hi Ariel, Brett, Rhonda, how you guys doing?
And you know, Rod, more than anything, what Darrell Leeson here brings to this program is he makes this team believe that they can win. I mean, he came in here with this great CIU experience. He hangs really tough in the pocket. You know, the whole philosophy of St. Mary's defense is with pressure, you've got to get to the quarterback. You got to try to fluster him. And now they get to him, but the ball's gone by then. You know, he's a very, very experienced quarterback. He's tall. He can see over the rush. And the rush just does not seem to affect him. And I tell you, if they give him that kind of time today, and he can sit back there and St. Mary's play man coverage, they're going to have trouble.
Once again, another impressive drive by the Rams. 7 plays, 85 yards, this time in just under 3 minutes. And they take the lead by 7. This scoring drive brought to you by Panasonic PalmLink, the only two-way radio with private talk. A touchdown lead for the visitors, the Regina Rams, trying to get to the Vanier Cup in just their second year in the CIAU. And this time, Ryan will need someone to keep the ball down with the wind really picking up, and not a bad kickoff into that breeze, falling down and ruled down on the play, even though no one touched him, is Josh Lebucky.
What goes away? They're trying.
Yeah, I think at Regina right now, they've got close to probably 180 yards offense, and there's still 3 minutes left in the first quarter. 2 very impressive drives. Ryan Jones coming out. He's the veteran, the nominee for the Heck Crichton Trophy in the Atlantic Conference. Started off real strong at the beginning. Hometown just outside of Hamilton, Ontario. And speaking of Hamilton, later on today, McMaster Marauders against the Ottawa GGs.
And there's Jones going to work. Well, they've run the ball well so far. That's the first carry of the day for Dean Jones. Another one of the aforementioned gang from Alberta, the 6 of them that came down after playing in the Prairie Junior Football Conference. And it was Dean Jones that had said after that he'd played the Rams. He'd been a thorn in the Rams side, actually.
Yeah, he has been. And McChrystal talked to us this morning about that, saying, yeah, he was a real tough guy to try to defend against. He hurt us in a lot of ways. He goes, and now I got to see him again today.
Playing with the Edmonton Huskies in junior ball. Getting the ball again. Dean Jones up across the 40. He was the MVP of the Atlantic Bowl last year when St. Mary's defeated the Waterloo Warriors. And he has a first down for SMU here as they try to answer back late in this first quarter.
Out of Irma, Alberta. Saw him come onto the scene last season. Had a great season with the St. Mary's Huskies, taking him to the Vanier Cup. You know, and all great running backs, they say, have vision. And, you know, he has superior vision and great quickness. If you just watch how he runs, his head's always on a swivel. He's always looking to see where the hole is.
First down. Play fake this time. Throwing it. Complete. And another first down. St. Mary's moves it. It's Travis Tyler with it. Also part of the Alberta connection. As is that man indirectly. Product of Hannah, Alberta. Blake Mill. Along the line of scrimmage. And you talked about the battles in the trenches. How about this one, Jamie? 19-year-old Terry Seidlitz up defensively for Regina against Charlie Toth of Montreal for St. Mary's. Combined weight, 730 pounds. How'd you like to be in the middle of that?
A ton of fun out there, I tell you.
Fumble! The handoff to Jones. And they do get it back, but they lose about a yard or two.
I actually think any guy that's over 350 pounds, they should count him as an extra player. Should be like you got 13 guys on the field.
Well, there's, you look at Charlie Toth and Seidlitz, the whole strategy with him was to occupy 2 guys. They like to put him up there. You look at actually Lee Cherkis is over.
I just want to know when
Vince
McMahon's coming down here to sign these 2 guys up for the WWF.
But Charlie's a load too. He was a center and moved over to guard after an injury to Kelly Ireland. Nearly intercepted by the Rams there. Well, that second down play.
That's just excellent coverage, a zone by Corey McKee. He's the inside halfback. They call it 2-back, and he has got what they call 2 covers going on here. The 2-man has got outside responsibility in the flat. Jones puts it out of there, and you can see he's already expanding out there before the ball is thrown. He makes a nice job of knocking the ball away, forcing St. Mary's into a punting situation.
Arts major, Regina born and bred, Corey McKee knocking that down and setting up a 3rd down in a punting situation for Dave Stala and the St. Mary's Huskies. Down a touchdown. Neil Hughes back for it. He's had a big game so far. And with the breeze, it's a bad punt. And it's just blown dead. Great break for the Rams and good field position. They'll have the ball at their 46.
Wow.
Wow, what?
Last night. That was amazing.
Come on. Really?
When you start...
Comlink, the only 2-way radio with private talk. You talk without the whole world listening.
The winner of the Atlantic Bowl goes on to play in Vanier Cup 36, December 2nd at Skydome in Toronto. There's the number if you need tickets. And you can also see the game right here on TSN. We'll be there. Winner of this one against either McMaster or Ottawa U. Leeson coughs it up. St. Mary's, they say they have it. Or did Regina get it back? What a break for the Rams as the Huskies, 3 of them had a good chance at that ball.
That could have been the break that St. Mary's were hoping for. Neil Hughes comes up with the ball, it looks like. We see Leeson just kind of sliding out, waiting, and then he tries to take off with it. Good job by Doug Borton getting a hand in there, the defensive lineman.
And Kyle Morrison did have his mitts on it and couldn't squeeze it. And it rolled out and Hughes picked it up. And so it ends up being just a loss of 2. So both teams have had some breaks. Each has fumbled on offense and gotten the ball back. And And so Leeson now with a second down and long. With zeros in the clock until quarter time. Under pressure again, they have him. Down he goes. Pierre-Paul Huet is there, as is Mathieu Demers. And Mark Irwin.
Now this is what St. Mary's wanted to do. They wanted to get kind of this pressure on Darrell Leeson. I thought initially it looked like they had picked up the blitz pretty well.
That is quarter time. Regina coming back will be with the wind, but they will be punting. The Huskies trailing by a touchdown at the 2000 Atlantic Bowl after one here on TSN. Where St. Mary's trails 14-7 after one quarter. Second quarter about to get underway. A Regina drive for a change stalled after two straight touchdown drives, and John Ryan, standing inside his 30, will be punting. The wind isn't what it was in the first quarter. Started to die down and swirl a little bit more. Travis Tyler on the return and gets it up to St. Mary's 39, where Ryan Jones and the offense will come back to work. The stats in the first quarter, pretty close, pretty even, and it looked like St. Mary's would dominate offensively early on, but not so after Regina got that ball the second time.
I think that's impressive, the 131 yards passing versus the wind. I mean, it's a pretty strong breeze out here. The time of possession, that's exactly what Regina wanted to do. They wanted to control the first quarter because they had the wind in their face.
Regina's two drives were brilliant. Now St. Mary's has to answer with Luis Perez taking it straight up the gut. Pretty good gain, about 5 yards on that first down.
It's like St. Mary's are showing a little bit of option. Look with Ryan Jones, as Blake Neal talking to his defense. He is also the defensive coordinator.
Is there anything you want to see?
The option and Blake Neal in the defense. Remember Waterloo in the Atlantic Bowl a year ago? They ran the option on their first drive. The defense couldn't adjust to it, except eventually they did, and they shut down the Warriors. It took some time, but just like Laval, too, in the Vanier last year, Jamie, it took Blake Neal's defense a little bit of time to figure out what that offense was doing to them, and then they did shut them down. But Regina's looks very dangerous, and that falls incomplete, so it'll be third down. Huskies will have to kick it away.
You see Ryan Jones is kind of shaking his head. He knows he had him opened out there, Jay Curry, number 81, his leading receiver this season. And that's the kind of football he has to get out there to keep drives alive, especially against this wind.
Blake Neal, Hannah, Alberta. Only one more famous, you suppose. Coming out of Hannah, Lanny McDonald, NHL Hall of Famer. Blake had a CFL career with the Montreal Concord. He played with the University of Calgary. And he was an assistant at St. Francis Xavier before taking over 3 years ago the program here. They blow the whistle down, punting into the wind.
That's a 4-yard punt, I believe.
And that wind did pick up, and you can just see the difference. 4-yard difference. They blow it down. Regina ball when we come back. Over St. Mary's here in the Atlantic Bowl. The winner goes on to the Vanier Cup in 2 weeks' time. Speaking of which, down to the sidelines once again, Alex J. Welling.
And a man involved with the Vanier Cup, Derek Martin. Anything new for the Vanier Cup this year?
Yeah, Alex, this year we've revamped our organizational structure. We brought in people from the CFL and from NFL Canada that have really brought a lot of experience in helping promoting the game in Southern Ontario.
Now, this Atlantic Bowl is not new to you. You played in the Wind Bowl in '96 and won it. As a quarterback here, are you impressed?
Oh, I'm very impressed. Both of these guys are doing a great job out here. You know, it's tough when you got this gale force wind in your face and the balls, your hands are cold, and it's tough. But these guys are doing a great job out here today, and it'll probably be a lot more big plays coming up.
Good luck in the Vanier Cup. Back upstairs, guys.
Thank you, Alex and Derek. And yes, remember that game, Ottawa U against St. Francis Xavier in the Atlantic Bowl, won by X 13-5. The wind was worse than it was today, and it's pretty bad today as Dennis Arruda nearly gets his hands on that pass by Darrell Leeson, who was taken down.
And that was a great rush by Doug Borden, number 77. That time, you know, St. Mary's only came with 4 people, and Doug Borden got right in there. And you can see this bodes well for St. Mary's. They can keep this up. Number 77, Doug Borden, big guy, 6'4", 310 pounds. You see, he gets right in Darrell Leeson's face, forcing Leeson to throw the ball a little bit behind the receiver. Now, the Washington Redskins, I believe, have been up here to take a look at him, if I'm
And
not
2
mistaken.
weeks ago, yes, the Buffalo Bills also showed interest because he bench presses over 500 pounds.
And he can move.
And he runs a 4.940, which ought to be illegal. Over the middle, wide open, Claremont. He's got both Regina touchdowns so far this game, and that's a big first down. Rams down to the SMU, 35, a gain of 20.
And, you know, Borden was right in there again, but Leeson hung in there this time, and he found his favorite receiver, Claremont, again over the middle. You just do there. You see St. Mary's number 17 right there. He just gets right into Darrell Leeson. He throws the ball, but just a really nice pass. And the thing that Darrell Leeson does so well is he looks people off. If you look at his head, he's going from side to side. Defensive backs can't get any kind of a cheat read on him at all. Very impressive.
So with the breeze at their backs, they're making use of it. Like a quarterback draw called by Leeson. Calls his own number again, and he has been gaining ground in this game impressively. Another first down on the ground for the Rams.
Well, that's a way to start to stop. If you have a big rush coming at you, one way to stymie that rush is to run this quarterback draw. They've got a nose on him as well. You see what a really nice job. Called play, of course, because they're blocking downfield.
Leeson has looked, to say the least, impressive. Throwing the ball, running the football. Big gains for the Rams, and they're threatening again here with a 7-point lead. An early movement. SMU is flags down as he gets it off. Intended for Olenek.
You know, I'm wondering if Darrell Leeson's doing something with his cadence, because that's the second time that Matthew Demers has been offside.
You never know. I got him on TV. He's thinking.
Offside, number 2, St. Mary's. First down repeated.
So they'll scrimmage from the 13 now, and 1st and 5.
This has got to be a very big goal line stand here for St. Mary's in the shadow of their own goal line. They've got to stop this juggernaut of Regina in the first half.
Especially since Regina has demonstrated it doesn't matter which end they're playing, they can move the football. Low snap in the shotgun, and Leeson rolls out under pursuit by Curtis Nash. End zone, flag down, touchdown, but the flag came out just as the ball was being caught, and no signal of a touchdown was there. A push-off, perhaps?
I think that's what he's going to decide, a push-off. Could be offensive interference.
What did they say up there?
Brother Mike Leeson.
Yep. Now, against Manitoba, Regina had 2 touchdowns called back in that game as well.
Both by Neil Hughes.
An illegal block, 7-0 Regina. First down repeated, 10 yards back.
Chris Warnicki, the slot back for the Rams, called on that push-off. But that, you see 71 there, that was Mike Leeson, who is a receiver for this team and the younger brother of Darrell. Warnicki called on the penalty, however, and so they're pushed back. It'll be first down and 15 from the 24. Leeson, pressure by Arruda. He was blitzing. Wide open touchdown. It's Warnicki.
You know, there's got to be a major breakdown in St. Mary's secondary because Warnicki was wide open. You know, I think that St. Mary's got caught there. Not sure if they're playing man or zone because they're coming off the corner with a blitz. Usually be in man coverage, but nobody picked up Chris Warnicki. I mean, he's wide open. You see the defenders down there kind of looking at one another saying, who's got him?
And Leeson read it wonderfully. Arruda coming in over the middle to Warnicki, who just had the penalty on the previous touchdown play, had that called back, making amends right there after the push-off. As Regina pushes ahead, Ryan, a convert here, and the visitors, they waltz in with a 2-touchdown lead right now. It's 21-7. Leeson leading the way for Regina. Break after throwing another touchdown pass that has put his Regina Rams into a 21-7 lead right here at Husky Stadium against St. Mary's in the Atlantic Bowl.
And you know, Rod, it is early in this game, but you know, one of the quotes that was attributed to Darrell Leeson when he came back to Regina this year, he said, "I'm coming back because I want to win a Vanier Cup." And everybody laughed at him and said, "Are you kidding me? This is a 0-8 football team a year ago. You honestly think?" And he did. He believes that this team has the ability to go and win a Vanier Cup. Now, he's still got a lot of time to play in this football game, but he's showing us some stuff this afternoon.
And they kick off there, and it is bobbled down inside the 20 by the Huskies. It's Cartier Shields on the return who gets it up across the 30 to about the 33. This is the touchdown that put them ahead by 14 points.
Well, St. Mary's are in man coverage, or they're supposed to be, and I believe Curtis Nash is supposed to have Warnicki. And you can see number 12 on your screen kind of looking around thinking, wait, I thought it was some other coverage, because he did not have him. He was wide open in the end zone.
The scoring drive brought to you by Panasonic Palmlink. 5 plays, 56 yards. Third impressive drive for this Rams team. And leading 21-7. Luis Perez on the toss. And he gains about 4 yards at most for St. Mary's. A Husky team that really was unchallenged all season in the Atlantic Conference. Their closest rival, Mount Allison, a team they had beaten 60-1. Later, they went to Sackville, New Brunswick, and they won only by 6.
And, you know, that's a good point, Rod, because this is unfamiliar territory for St. Mary's. They have not been behind in any games this year. They pretty much had their way in the Atlantic Conference this year. Undefeated season so far.
But so far, it's looking difficult. But this play isn't. Perez making it look easy as he waltzes up towards midfield, about the 47, 48-yard line for St. Mary's, and a big first down.
And I think one of the things you won't see St. Mary's do, they won't panic. I think Blake Nill is a seasoned enough coach, and I think his team is seasoned enough as well, that they will not panic.
I wonder how surprised they might be, though, taking on a team that was 4-4 in the Canada West and nearly missed the playoffs. The way things are going right now. Perez, the ball carrier again. He's had a good half. Gets close to first down yardage again across midfield to the 48 of Regina.
And you know, St. Mary's have to be patient with this. This run game, they're cracking off 6, 7, 8 yards a carry. They've got to keep pounding away at this to keep the ball away from Regina. Can they just leave with Hakeem the back? He didn't follow him into a hole. He didn't think anything was there. He looked back inside. It wasn't there. He slid back out again and almost got the first down.
And actually, excuse me, to the 53 of Regina, just across the midfield stripe. Second and short. And Erico Hakeem, the ball carrier.
And St. Mary's have changed their whole focus right now on offense. We don't see Dean Jones in there, a tailback anymore. We see the 2 bigger backs in there, kind of giving that option look. They haven't run it yet.
And that is a first down for the Huskies. Moving it now, approaching the midway point of the second quarter. They hand it off again. They're keeping it on the ground, and why not? Perez is chewing up more yardage. Another first down, St. Mary's to the 35.
Well, Regina are lining up in a 40 look. 4 down linemen covering the guards and the tackles, or actually the ends, and then what they do is they put the linebackers all inside. They're just leading the fullback right onto the linebackers, called isolation. And they're giving the ball to Perez, and he's just cutting off the block.
Ryan Jones calling out the signals now. They get the line up to the line of scrimmage quickly, trying to keep the momentum going here. And Perez carries again. Once again, pretty good yardage. Inside the 30. Down to about the 27. The winner of this game takes on the winner of that game. Coming up next on TSN, it's the Churchill Bowl from Les Prince Field in Hamilton. Home field of the McMaster Marauders, taking on the Ottawa UGGs, champions of the Ontario-Quebec Conference, against Mac of the OU. That's next with John Wells and Glenn Suter. Another good matchup. Perez, it's been his drive so far on second and short, and looks like he has another first down for St. Mary's.
You know, this is real old-time football, just kind of banging it in there, but St. Mary's, to their credit, are content to do it. If you're just continuing to rack up first downs and drive on the football, you just keep handing it off to Luis Perez.
From Brampton, originally from Venezuela, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Went to Bramley Secondary School in Brampton. In his 4th season with the Huskies.
Who are moving now, waking up. Haven't had anything going like this since their first drive when they took only 3 plays to waltz down the field and into the end zone. It looked like it was going to be so easy against this Ram defense, but not so. Only now moving the ball again and threatening to score down around the 20-yard line. 2nd down.
That was a real nice play, the last play by outside linebacker Jeff Zimmer for Regina. They were running counter, and he came right down the line of scrimmage and made the tackle in the hole because there was a lot of room.
Second and long. And remember, you can't take the kicking game for granted. On the option, Jones keeps it himself. Close to first down yardage again.
We saw the fake option earlier. This time Ryan Jones keeps it coming down the line, and you can see they get Zimmer outside, kind of all on a pedestal. He doesn't know which guy to take. Ryan Jones makes the right move and forces it hard up inside.
3rd down, about a foot to go. No thought of a field goal try. A keeper. Jones has the first down, and the drive continues for St. Mary's.
And Frank McChrystal told us this morning, if St. Mary's can run the ball on us, I'm going to get real nervous in this football game. Now, he's got a 14-point lead right now, but nonetheless, he did not want St. Mary's to establish the run as early as they appear to have in this game.
Well, if nothing else, it keeps Darrell Leeson and that Regina offense off the field. Of course, they need the points. They need to come back in this game, but as long as they can. Perez fumbles it on the toss. A flag is down as well. He gets it back. But big loss here down to the St. Mary's, the Regina 20. So moving backwards, a flag came down shortly after he coughed it up.
Oh, please be on them. Wait, there's got a penalty. Hold on, stay. It's roughing. It's on them. Yeah. It's on them, yeah. Stop.
5-9. Regina, unsportsmanlike conduct, 10 yards, and it'll be 2nd down.
Eric Boschman of Regina called for unsportsmanlike. What a big turn of events this is for SMU.
Those penalties kill you because that's a discipline penalty. I mean, that's just not knowing the situation. Can't hurt the club.
So they included the lost yardage, and then they tack on the penalty, so it'll still be 2nd down and only 9 this time as the ball is spotted around the 10-yard line. So it's almost goal to goal for all intents and purposes here. 10 away, and they need 9 for a first down, and they throw it. Dave Stalla. Oh, he is popped. Big time pop by Corey McKee. Down at the 5.
Well, that Corey McKee is having a whale of a game so far today. Made a couple nice knockdowns, a couple of big hits, one on Ryan Jones earlier in the game, and this one.
Sala with the reception. Brought down on the 4-yard line.
No Dristan for Dave Stalla.
I don't know how you felt about this playing time in a cold day. The feeling of a helmet against you in weather like this would be particularly uncomfortable.
It's like having a ball of concrete thrown at
you. They need 3 for a first down and 4 for a touchdown. And it's Luis Perez, and they'll be very close to the first down at least. They didn't get it in.
We probably shouldn't let him do that in case we go next week.
No.
First down is indicated, so they'll have 3 cracks at getting it in the end zone and cutting Regina's lead to 7.
Now, what do you think they're going to call here?
Perez has taken them most of the way.
Quarterback sneak.
Quarterback sneak, Jones?
Yep.
You call that? I say Luis Perez again. It's Perez. And it's a touchdown, St. Mary's. Luis Perez really earned that touchdown. I've earned something for you from winning that bet. We'll settle that later on.
That was a very impressive drive by St. Mary's, mostly on the ground and mostly with that guy, Luis Perez. And rightfully so, they should have given it to him.
This Atlantic Bowl has been terrific. Regina was down. Regina responded in a big way with 3 touchdowns. Now St. Mary's, against this breeze, is coming back. There have been more points against the win today than with it.
And the thing you can say is that it is a well-played game so far. I mean, there are great plays on offense.
And Chris Breckenridge to make it a 7-point game, which he does. This time St. Mary's drives the length of the field. They've cut it to 7, but Regina still leads the first half for the Atlantic Bowl in Halifax.
Luis Perez, Ryan Jones hands it off. A good initial block by Enrico Hakeem, the fullback, and Jones gets into the end zone to make the score 21-14.
And a look at the scoring drive brought to you by Panasonic Palmlink. 11 plays and 78 yards, and look at the amount of time it chewed up there, nearly 7 minutes. It's been a while since that Rams offense has had to do anything. They'll be getting the ball back now on the kickoff, taken by Ashman. And St. Mary's is a fired-up bunch right now. As we go back to Alex J. Walling, who is joined with a special guest. Alex?
I've got Dr. David Barnard. Doctor, first of all, congratulations on the program. 2 years and you're in here.
Yes, thank you. It's a very impressive performance by the Rams. They came from a winning tradition in another league and came into the University League and have done real well.
Doctor, everything's gone your way today.
Well, not quite everything, but a good bit. We expected a really good game from them. They've really prepared hard, and we expected them to do real well.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Okay, it's a pleasure.
Thank you. Dr. David Barnard, back upstairs.
Thank you. And this team fueling some school pride at the University of Regina now in a very brief relationship so far, as that one is dropped by the fullback, Chris Briltz.
Now, in fairness to Briltz, he only had 4 catches all year long. Now, I don't know if this is why he dropped the ball, or that's why they only threw to him 4 times.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. But nonetheless, he's primarily in there as a blocking back.
And he's one of the long-time Rams, going back all the championships they won early on, been with the team a long time. And one of the more outspoken ones about being branded an underdog, one of the leaders on this team. It's a 2nd down now after that drop. Dropping back, leads to the throw wide open. He's got a man. Got a first down, too, across the 40. That's Olenek again. But a flag is down back in the Rams' backfield. It could be coming back. Oh, it could be something happening to Darrell Leeson, because they will give all that yardage and more to Regina.
15 yards, first down.
It's interesting how they start this play, because Olenek lines up as a fullback, and then he shuffles out into the flat. Oh, yeah, as soon as you hit the quarterback head, they're going to flag you every time, and that's a good call.
That was Eric Lyman.
Eric Lyman, an interesting story as well. Played at Boston College. And a couple years there. He's from Pennsylvania. I asked Blake Nill how he arrived here at St. Mary's. He was in the Armed Forces after he went to Boston College, was looking to play another year. Good student, wanted to do his master's degree, came to St. Mary's, and Blake Nill's glad to have him.
Passing, looking for Claremont. And Olenek was in the area as well. That was at around the 40. Would have been a first down, but just a little bit too far for Claremont to get his hands on it. It'll be 2nd down.
Actually, I think he was looking at Olenek, and Claremont kind of broke off his route, seeing that the ball was thrown. So I think when you saw the ball arrive, it looked like it was closer. But in fact, it wasn't that close. Good protection. Sits up there. I think he's going for Olenek, and then you see Claremont. He kind of breaks off. He was doing more down the field, but I think when he saw the ball thrown, he thought it might be for him, so he tried to close the gap.
Usually don't want your receivers that close together,
you don't.
Do you?
No.
Draws a lot of coverage. Look at that, 10 for 14. Some big numbers. He had over 400 last week in Winnipeg. Darrell Leeson. He's been great. He's airing it out here. Good coverage, Curtis Nash. A little contact on the way down, but it falls incomplete. And Regina will be punting.
That's really one of the only bad passes we've seen Darrell Leeson throw today. Just kind of didn't release it very well, got kind of hung up there and threw it behind.
And a moral victory of sorts for St. Mary's, the defense that has had so much trouble stopping this offense now. Can a quarterback get cold on the sidelines? I mean, after being red hot as he was and then seeing the other offense drive for 7 minutes?
I think you can get cold, but I also think what happens is that you see the momentum start to slip away from you. You're so eager to get back out there again, but the other team keeps driving and driving and driving.
Ryan to punt it. Not a good punt. More off the side of his foot as it takes a bounce down, and Kyle Morrison takes it and runs with it and rumbles across the 35 to about the 37 on that one. 7-point game here at the Atlantic Bowl in Halifax. We'll be back on TSN. Luis Perez, who helped them drive the length of the field last time they had possession and scored the touchdown to get this game a little closer, picks up another first down for St. Mary's. And all of a sudden the ball is out to the 48-yard line. Huskies scored a touchdown the last time they had possession, getting late now in the first half. Would love to tie this game before they head to the locker room, of course.
And they're into their hurry-up offense right now as time continues to tick away with 2:26 left.
Ryan Jones standing under center. It's Perez again. It's been his show so far, and he gets about 3-4 more. Luis Perez, a conference all-star, one of many on this team, and he picked up over 1,000 yards again this season. And look what he has so far in this day. A good average, and in keeping with what he had during the regular season when he averaged 8.5. And there's 34 with it again. Cutting up, taken down, and St. Mary's will be punting.
Regina defense stiffening up there. Ian Bunnell makes a real nice move. You know, we talked about Corey McKee being in the other halfback, number 25. But Bunnell comes up here and makes a great play because he's initially blocked, but he does not give up on the play. Turns around and he gets back into it and ends up making the tackle. So much on defense is just strict desire. Have to get to the football. Got to make the tackle.
Dave Stala standing inside his 40. So Darrell Leeson and the Rams offense will have about 2 minutes to work. See if they can get their 2-touchdown lead back. Not a great punt. Taken by Hughes. Has some room. Trying to get around. He does. Here's Neil Hughes at midfield. A great return by the Rams. Neil Hughes gets it into St. Mary's territory inside the 50. Later tonight on TSN, Sports Desk with Corey Warren at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Of course, highlights of this game and the Churchill Bowl to follow between McMaster and Ottawa U and all the other news you need to know on TSN Sports Desk with Corey Warren. Later on the Sports Network. Lots to be decided here at Husky Stadium now, though. Perhaps some more here in this first half. Leeson and the Rams trying to add to their total of 21 so far. Overall, a very impressive showing so far here in this Atlantic Bowl. As he rolls out to his right and airs it out. Good coverage on the play, and the ball is overthrown, intended for his brother, his younger brother, Mike Leeson. It'll be second down.
And you wonder how many times they must have done that in their time growing up together.
Well, one thing Darrell said is he would come back, even in his days as a Dino, would come back and watch the Rams play. Of course, his former team, but also to see his brother play, and got familiar with a lot of the people on this offense that he would later be playing with now. But yeah, you're right. That combo must have been working 10, 15 years ago or more. Backyards. Lots of time for Leeson. All day to get it away, and he takes off himself. Morrison in pursuit. Leeson will get out of bounds untouched, and a big first down across the 30-yard line.
It's a real nice job by Leeson, not only to get the yardage, but to get out of bounds and stop the clock with 1:28 left in the first half. He is so cool under pressure back there. I mean, it just looks like nothing phases this guy. Now, St. Mary's only coming with a 3-man rush, trying to drop a lot of people off. It's kind of against their philosophy. They like to come with a lot of different people. And then when he gets outside, there's just nothing but room. Preston Bowles comes up and forces Leeson outside.
Need about 10 seconds to get rid of that ball. As a timeout is taken by the Huskies. As Leeson heads over, talk it over with his coaches.
It's so funny when you think of, when you just said timeout taken by the Huskies, and I think of Regina, and I always think Saskatchewan. I think of the Saskatchewan Huskies for some reason, right?
When you see the green and
Absolutely.
the white, of course, there's some gold in there.
Right, and these are the Rams.
Well, I mean, hey, the Huskies, Saskatchewan Huskies, set a nice precedent for dominating in the CIAU when they won 3 national titles in the 90s. Their first coming 10 years ago, actually. And so maybe a model for Regina and maybe a model for these other Huskies here today, because St. Mary's is trying to follow up a losing effort in the Vanier, returning the next year to win it. That's what Saskatchewan did in '89, losing to Western, and then in '90 beating St. Mary's, Chris Flynn. So, but it's going to be a tough road for St. Mary's here, perhaps tougher than they thought it would be. Regina's given them quite a handful. They lead, and they are inside the St. Mary's 30, threatening to score some more with about 1.5 minutes to go until they head to the locker room for halftime. Leeson will pass. Borden nearly got him. He completes it to Hughes, and he's taken down right away by Dennis Arruda. But he got it inside the 20 and close to first down yardage for the Rams.
Okay. Short yard.
It'll be 2nd and short.
Hurry up.
And another big challenge for Blake Nill's defense.
Well, we'll see Regina come out with that power eye again with Zimmer, who's a linebacker, number 42, line up as the fullback, along with 33, Chris Burtz.
On short yardage, Leeson didn't need much. He didn't get anything at all, I don't think.
I don't think he got it. There was absolutely no movement.
He only needed about 2 feet, but it didn't look like he broke the plane of the line of scrimmage at all.
Watch when Darrell Leeson takes his snap. I mean, there's just no movement forward at all. He gets stood up.
And then Kyle Morrison comes in to haul him down. Of course, they had 2 downs to get the first down. It'll be 3rd and even shorter now, about a foot shy or less.
I don't think they'll run quarterback sneak this time.
This time,
took a timeout again.
Timeout is taken by Regina. Well, talking earlier about the St. Mary's Huskies and their heartbreak last year, and they've had heartbreak before, not with the same players. They have been to the Vanier Cup before. They have won it. You have to go back to Bill Robinson in 1973 when they beat McGill. Then they got Chris Flynn, Jamie, and you remember those years well, losing to Calgary and then 2 years later.
And actually, Chris Flynn didn't play in that game in 1988, if you remember. He was hurt. He
Sure, Bill Scollard was quarterback.
Right, he broke his cheek the week before playing Bishops in the Atlantic Bowl game.
And then they went on and they lost to Saskatchewan. That was the redemption for the Huskies, having lost the year before. 2 years later, it's the last time a Canada West team has lost in the Atlantic Bowl, when Calgary lost to St. Mary's, and Larry Utek and his team went on to lose to Queens 31-0. And Larry Utek,
there's the coach,
of course, stricken with Lou Gehrig's disease, but an inspiration to the players, and a wonderful scene last year when they won the Atlantic Bowl over Waterloo, when they came to share the trophy with him. He was a longtime coach of this team, still, of course, involved with athletics here at St. Mary's University. Third and short. Claremont comes in to take it and does get a first down for the Rams. It would appear this drive will continue. Under 1 minute to go, 56 on the clock.
Now, it'll be interesting to see if Regina huddle up here. They go right out the line of scrimmage with 56 seconds, because the whistle's going to be blown in as soon as the yard markers are set. They seem to be content, taking their time. Frank McChrystal would like to pop in another one here before the half.
Leeson to pass this time. They're coming. Gets it away. Short. Nearly caught for the touchdown, but it hit the turf. It was Claremont that was there. It has 2 touchdowns so far in this game, but couldn't snag a third. It was close.
And you can see what playing man coverage does for you. I mean, he was under tremendous pressure. He threw the ball up. Now in zone, that's picked off, this ball. But when you're playing man coverage, the defender is so intent on covering the receiver. You see the kind of pressure that Darrell Leeson was under there. He threw the ball up kind of high. Ball underthrown. Receiver came back, tried to make a play for it, Claremont, but bounced off the turf.
Rams and second down. Gleason to pass again. They're pressing. Caught. Claremont taken down immediately, but another nice catch. Dennis Arruda corralled him.
Going to be decision time again for Regina here. I would assume they would go for it. They're going to be a bit short.
Down around the 10-yard line. Claremont looked like he wanted a face masking call, Jamie, the way Arruda took him down.
It looks like he had his thumb in there, doesn't it?
Just gets around the 10. He needed to get a little bit further. So once again, we're faced with another third down gamble. No thought of a field goal here. They can smell a touchdown, and if they can get it, they can go up by 14 again. Heading to the locker room. Claremont takes it again and gets another first down. What a drive again by the Rams. That's close to the 5.
And they got to hurry here because there's 16 seconds if they want to get more than one play off here.
Let's go twice, eh? 16 seconds.
And the whistle's going to get blown in once those markers are set, and they look to be set right now. And the clock's running.
Clock ticking in the half. Gleason dumps it off. Incomplete. He wanted Olenek. Clock showing 5 seconds left, and they may just have to bring out Ryan to try the field goal.
I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to bring John Ryan in. They're going to attempt the field goal.
And it will be the first field goal attempted in this game. It's been all touchdowns so far. 5 of them. 3 of them for Regina and 2 of them for the Huskies. They can take a 10-point lead to the locker room. The Rams can. John Ryan, his biggest kick of his brief tenure with the Regina Rams came a couple of weeks ago in Calgary, and it was a punt for a single, and a booming punt it was to give them the win. This gives them the lead at the half. 2 seconds still showing, but it looks like they will head to the locker room leading it by 10. The score now 24-14 on that short field goal by John Ryan.
And St. Mary's are just going to scrimmage the ball from the 35.
You don't know what to expect in conference play, so I don't know whether to be surprised or not. Obviously, when you have an unbeaten team against a 4-4 team, you might assume a few things, but and that's something I think Regina has fed off of so far.
No question, and I think that's the hardest thing that Blake Neal probably had to deal with this week is that, you know, I know they're a 4-4 football team. Yeah, everybody can say they won 2 close games and then they're in here. Maybe they shouldn't be here, but he knows they're a good football team. Good football teams do not advance this far. But sometimes it's tough to get your players to understand that.
These players have been in the situation before, but not this year. St. Mary's is in an unfamiliar situation, trailing in a football game and down by 10. The ever impressive Regina Rams are looking to pull off another upset. Let's head down to Alex J. Walling. Alex.
Coach, you beat the win. You're doing everything. You scripted a great game.
Well, things are going okay so far, you know, but we've got to defend the run. We knew we had to defend the run coming in here if we needed to be successful or were to be successful.
Any surprises so far?
No, actually, things are going as we thought they might. They're doing the things we thought they were able to do, and, you know, it's a tough game so far, yeah.
Look, congratulations. Great half. Thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Stick around. Still have a half to go. Here at Husky Stadium in Halifax, it's the Regina Rams leading the St. Mary's Huskies 24-14. Back with more after this.
It's a 5-point lead. It's a touchdown for a win for St. Mary's, or it's a loss. Nealon comes wide to the left this time, and it's McDonald that he looks, and he's got a man in the end zone. Touchdown, St. Mary's. They'll go to the Vanier Cup.
This place is going nuts.
That was one of the classic memories of the Atlantic Bowl for the St. Mary's Huskies. They're trying for another one here today, but they've got some ground to gain if they want to catch the Regina Rams, who lead it by 10 here at the half at Husky Stadium in Halifax. Well, the winner of this game will face either the Ottawa U GGs or the McMaster Marauders, who are facing off later today in the Churchill Bowl. And standing by in Hamilton with a preview of that one coming up later on TSN, John Wells and Glenn Suter.
With the doors. Rod, this is McMaster's first trip to the Churchill Bowl. Ottawa has been here before. They'd much rather, Glenn, be here with their #1 quarterback, Phil Cote, who won the Heck Crichton Trophy a year ago.
Yeah, Phil Cote has been their guy all season long. And last week versus Laval in that big upset, Phil Cote went down with an ankle injury. It happened early in the first quarter. Tackled by Laval. He goes down, did not return to the game. Phil Cote, there was question all week as to whether or not he'd be ready to go for this game here this afternoon. Not only will he not go, he won't even dress.
James Baker gets the starting assignment. They're weakened a little bit there, but when you look back to last week, he did beat Laval.
Yeah, James Baker came in, like I said, early in the first quarter. After some early game jitters, settled in, played pretty well, and of course they upset Laval.
When you look at McMaster, you have to look at the #1 offense in the nation, and they have an outstanding running back who is nominated for the Heck Crichton Trophy this year.
No question. Kojo Adu has been their guy for the McMaster Marauders. He beat Jared Smith's OUA record for rushing in a single season, over 1,300 yards on the year. Not only that, he also beat the CIAU record for touchdowns in a single season with 20, and he can get you both ways along the ground, of course, with over 1,300 yards. This against Laurier last week, a 76-yarder for the touchdown, and he can also throw the ball.
Yeah, he had a touchdown last week as he went back to the quarterback, Ben Chapdelaine, for 6.
Yeah, a little trick play from head coach Greg Marshall last week versus Laurier. Took the handoff and then threw it back to Ben Chapdelaine for a big touchdown. So he can get you both ways. It'll be up to the defense for the Ottawa GGs to try and stop Kojo Adu, and that'll be up to Teddy Neptune. Here's a guy who spent 2 years at the University of Kentucky with Tim Coach, transferred back to Ottawa. Be up to him to try and control Kojo Adu.
So what we've got here in the Churchill Bowl this afternoon at McMaster University is a battle of the #1 offense in the nation against the #1 defense, and that's where it's all going to shake down here today.
And we're certainly looking forward to the Churchill Bowl later on today, Jamie. Ottawa U has been in that situation before recently, but this is new territory for a very good, explosive McMaster team.
Yeah, McMaster on offense have Chapdelaine, they've got Idu, but Ottawa have the best defense in the nation, so it should be a great matchup.
Yeah, it really should be, and that one is coming up right after we're finished here, but we still have a whole half to play, at least the way these teams are going back and forth, especially Regina. A 10-point lead for the Rams. What's going on here at Husky Stadium? Hopefully we'll get some answers for you later. We got a lot of undecided things right now. A 10-point lead for the Regina Rams. Jamie, who fell behind early but drove back a couple of times, including this one.
Mason's so comfortable in the pocket under that pressure. He finds his favorite receiver, Jason Claremont, and they get in the end zone. Then they come right back again, but this time they go to Chris Warnicki, number 70. Blown coverage by St. Mary's, and they're in the end zone again.
So they made it 21-7, but the Huskies finally got their offense rolling again, largely because of Luis Perez.
And this is a great drive by Luis Perez. He takes it off tackle, he sniffs the end zone, and St. Mary's are back in the football game.
They're back in. The late field goal made it a 10-point game, but you can see the numbers getting a little bit closer still. Great offense by Darrell Easton, that Regina team.
Yeah, take a look at it. 176 yards passing in the first half. That's pretty incredible. Plus rushing, and granted, you know what? He's done most of the rushing yards.
He has time of possession favoring St. Mary's. It's interesting that last drive alone took up over 7 minutes, and it cooled off Leeson a little bit, although they did come back and get that one. Are you surprised the wind hasn't been as big a factor as we would have thought it would?
I really am, especially with Darrell Leeson against him and throwing the ball exceptionally well. But I think what you're going to see St. Mary's do in the second half here is they're going to come out they're going to stunt a lot more on defense.
Later on TSN. Still have a half to play here, though. The Huskies, I wonder what they said in the locker room, not being down in this situation and all this year, an 8-0 record, unblemished, facing their toughest opponent.
Actually, I think they reacted pretty well because, you know, things weren't looking too good for them after the opening drive, of course, but they had 2 long drives against them. Looks like they settled down. They managed to get some points on the board, and they're back in this football game. You see Regina coming back out onto the field, getting ready for the second half. Quarterback comparison. Darrell Leeson, stellar first half, 12 of 19, 176 yards and 2 touchdowns. And key, no interceptions. Ryan Jones hasn't thrown the ball as much, still very effective, 4 of 6 for 67 yards, but they've gone more to the ground game in the second quarter.
Darrell Leeson racking up the numbers, and in really difficult circumstances too. I think particularly when they were down by that touchdown early on, and it looks like St. Mary's could just roll along at will, and then they drive back against the wind. That was impressive.
You know, when I was a youngster playing football, my dad always used to say to me, the team who scores first doesn't usually win.
I don't know if I believe you, but I'll take your word for it now. Let's go down to Alex J. Walling with Blake Nell.
I've got Blake Nell. Blake, what did you tell your team at halftime, sir?
Well, we just look out, can we make some adjustments? We, you know, the big thing is I think we're letting them off with a little, you know, a lot of underneath type routes and that, and we've got to be able to stop that. You know, and we've got to be able to move the football, maintain. I think we've shown we can run the football. We've got to get a little passing game going here, and basically we got to win the third quarter here right now.
Is the win a factor?
Yes and no. It's sort of a crosswind. It's a bit of a factor on the long balls, but you know, we've got to prove right now that we can come out. It's gut check time for us right now.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Alex. And yeah, Blake Nell's seen gut check time before, last year certainly.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, I think but you know, I think his team is experienced enough. They've been in big games before, and you know, you think about a team like Regina, 0-8 last year. They had 8 games. Then they've played, you know, how many this year? 9 games now so far, or this year 10th, 12th, 11th game. But St. Mary's had 3 games last year in playoffs. You know, they've had 2 more now. That's 5 games. That's almost an extra season you're talking about in terms of experience that these guys have, and especially in big football games. So I don't think St. Mary's are going to panic at all in this type of a situation.
Well, they fell behind early last year's Atlantic Bowl against Waterloo, and they came back. They settled that. Laval, you may recall, I believe, on Laval's opening drive when Bertrand drove them down like a knife through butter, and they scored the touchdown, and you thought maybe the Rouge et Or could rout them, and yet that turned out to be a very close game that St. Mary's could have won. It was 14-10 final.
That's right, because Laval scored all their points in the first half. I mean, they scored their 14 points in the first. St. Mary's just couldn't muster enough offense in the second half to take the game.
Getting set for the second half kickoff now. St. Mary's will receive, and they will have that wind that Blake Nell described as more of a cross, and it's true, it has swirled a bit. At times straight down the field, and at times cutting across a bit, but they do have more of the breeze at their back right now. So Regina will have it in the fourth, but whatever factor that is, they blow it down right away as Marquez takes it right at the 35. And so Ryan Jones and that offense will come on. See what they do with the ground game. That's what's been working for them with Luis Perez after the first 30 minutes of this game.
Well, I think you're going to see them go right back to it again, and it'd be interesting to see if Dean Jones comes into the game at all, tailback, and I do see him in the game now. I think they feel that they can effectively run the football now. They've shown that in the second quarter. You know, and the old rule is if it's not broke, don't fix it. So why stop yourself?
It's what Frank McChrystal feared the most about the St. Mary's offense, the run, fearing that a lot more than the pass. And it's been true to form so far. You saw Ryan Jones only attempted 6 passes all that first half. He's setting up a shotgun here, however, to start the second. And hands off it to Dean Jones. There he is. Here he goes. Still on his feet to midfield, and a big first down to start this second half. St. Mary's.
You know, St. Mary's only go with one back in the backfield, and that's Dean Jones. And they spread everybody out wide, so they spread that defense out. They create these big seams in the inside. They just run almost like an option. There's nobody to option it to. And boy, he's got such quick feet. Accelerates hard, gets up the field. And we didn't really see him that much in the second quarter. It was primarily Luis Perez playing tailback.
In the entire first half, only a few carries. That was a gain of 15 for the former Edmonton Husky, former rival of the Regina Rams in junior football, and there he is. Carry number 2 of the half. It's Dean Jones again, putting his head down, pulling for more. Another good long gain, over 8 yards on first down, second and short for the Huskies.
And Luis Perez is on the sidelines right now. He is not in the football game. They've gone to just an ace back. And they probably feel right now they want to try and get the ball outside and use Dean Jones' quickness. Perez more the power runner.
Come on.
There you go again, Dean Jones, straight up, first down and more. Across the 45, into about the 43, Regina. The ground attack, 3 straight running plays for St. Mary's.
And you know, right now, Sylvain, Salmas, Oldreef, Toth, and Morley, the offensive line for St. Mary's, are getting off the ball in a big way. You know, they always say on defense, you don't want to be a catcher. But right now, that defensive line is starting to catch a lot of these blows from St. Mary's.
Frank McChrystal said back in the junior days, when Dean Jones was with Edmonton, he was a hard guy to bring down. There's a passing play. Jay Curry. They're ruling it a catch. Looked like he dropped the ball, but they're saying it's a reception down the 25. And another first down. The sticks move again for SMU.
Just a three-step drop by Ryan Jones. Fires it outside to his favorite receiver, Jay Curry. Matt Dean on the coverage. It's very good coverage up there, but take a look at Curry. Goes way up, uses his height, 6'4", 195 pounds. Well, looks like the ball did spring loose there at the end.
They rule it a reception. And quickly, here to start the second half, the Huskies move downfield. Out of the shotgun again, and Jones will pass again. Dumping it off. Nearly picked there, Jeff Zimmer, reaching for it. Just beyond him, it was intended for Paul Fleming.
And that's just a case of Ryan Jones not getting his shoulder set to the receiver. You know, he's rolling to his left side, right-handed quarterback. You really got to work on getting your downfield shoulder, your non-throwing shoulder pointed to the receiver. Rushing yards surpassing the passing yards by over 40 yards.
Substantial amount. And so far, it's been 3 running plays and 2 passing plays in this drive. It has taken St. Mary's in scoring position inside the Regina 25. On second down, to pass again, dumping it off. Dean Jones taking it. First down, more. Zimmer finally drags him down inside the Regina 10. It'll be first and goal for St. Mary's to start this second half.
Yeah, that was a well-executed screen by St. Mary's. Well executed. Ryan Jones drops back, invites the rush. Offensive line blocks, and they slide out to the right. Just gets his feet set. Gets the ball in his hands, and now just tucks it away and really knifes hard up the field. You know, that's one thing you must say about Dean Jones. You don't see him go east-west very often. He's a north-south runner.
Dean Jones again, carrying it down near the goal line. Touchdown, St. Mary's. That's what Blake Nill needed from his team to start this second half.
Let's take a look now here. Watch where this pile ends up as we see the grass surface at St. Mary's.
Pile at the bottom.
Well, what's the interior of this offensive line here where it ends up? Look, everybody's going to be almost in the end zone. They push everybody back into the end zone. If you're a defensive lineman, you cannot stand up and be pushed back into the end zone.
Well, just as St. Mary's previous touchdown drive in the first half was the Luis Perez show, this was the Dean Jones show. As he scores one against the Rams, the way he once did when he played junior football. Oh, yeah, another Atlantic Bowl tradition, and they're proud of it. Making a mess here in Halifax. We'll be back. Hearts are warming up. If they're cheering for the Huskies, they're coming back in this one, trying to get to the Vanier Cup for the second straight year. Regina wants to go there as well. Toronto, December the 2nd. We'll have it for you here on TSN, and you saw the number there. If you want to get some tickets, Neil Hughes takes it at his 5. Their lead is only 3, and he has hit hard. Crefton Bowler's in there. Another Husky. Lyman, Eric Lyman in there as well to take Hughes down at the Regina 30.
I'll tell you, you're seeing some real tough hits here this afternoon by both teams, and this is really impressive. I mean, Hughes, he's just like shot out of a cannon here when he takes his kickoff back, and then St. Mary's gunners come down here, and wow, what a shot by Eric Lyman, number 95. Just watch, gives the old head snap right here, right there. Bang, just goes right out of your picture. And that's good football.
Kind of a double whammy. The big one by Lyman, but Bowler's got him as well on the way down. Hughes, Saskatchewan tough, no problem. In there and ready to go. First and 10. Handing it off. Olenek with it, who had a busy first half for Regina. And about a 3-yard gain. Not a big one there on first down. Scoring drive brought to you by Panasonic Palmlink. 7 plays, 65 yards. A lot of it on the ground. A lot of it to Dean Jones, who ended up scoring the touchdown and a 5-yard run and had that big catch as well.
I mean, think about this game. We've seen 2 80-plus yard drives, a 70+ yard drive, and now 65-yard drive. This is incredible offensive football.
It's great offensive football, and there's been some big hitting in it as well. It's been a great game so far. And the scoreboard bears that out. Early in the third. A 3-point game. Early movement on the line. That's Greg Hamilton, 52 for Regina, moving early. One of them anyway, with the flags going down. It'll be procedure against the Rams.
Still second down, 5 yards back.
And what was a second and long is a second and longer. It'll be 14 now. Second down. Gleason calling out the signals, stepping back to pass. Under pressure from Mark Irwin, he dumps it off. The screen to Olenek. Olenek, a big gain and a first down, Rams. Regina gets it up and a late flag out of bounds with Trefton Bowlers out there on Olenek. Already a first down, though, Regina, close to midfield.
They've run the screen effectively today a few times, and Darrell Eason dropping straight back, looks to his right, then he comes over here to Olenek, just slides up from behind those offensive linemen. It shows a real good burst of speed getting away from the linebacker, Huey, and then getting up the field.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 18, Regina, 10 yards, first down.
Boy, that is a... Frank McChrystal cannot be very happy about that.
Well, Olenek picked up the first down. That stands, but as he was taken out, he obviously didn't like the way Trefton Bowlers took him out. And he draws the unsportsmanlike, so that pushes Regina back, although it is first and 10 from their 34.
Well, we saw Olenek, you know, he was lined up primarily as a slot, but he's been playing kind of that fullback position a little bit today. See him back in there again with Chris Briltz is out.
Neil Hughes moving up to pass again on first and 10. Off to the side for Hughes, off his fingertips, with Kyle Morrison covering him. And it falls incomplete. It'll be second and 10.
And, you know, St. Mary's are starting to get a pass rush. They are starting to get up the field and getting into Darrell Eason's face. He did not have the amount of time that he wanted to throw there. That's why he tried to dump it off to Neil Hughes out in the flat. Blake Neal, talking to him this week, he said, we have over 40 different blitzes in our blitz package. He says, I don't think Regina has seen that many this whole season. He said they're going to see them all today, if not more.
I'll tell you, though, so far, and you'd agree, Darrell Eason's done a wonderful job.
He has done. Yep.
Read one blitz, threw a touchdown pass off it to Chris Warnick. Warnicky make it 21-7. Now it's down to 24-21 lead. Passing again, Hughes. No good. It was a nice catch. He caught it. He didn't stay in bounds, and they'll be punting.
Now, it's a good call by the official because he did make the catch, and his foot came down right on the line. A nice pass by Darrell Eason. You can see the ball outside here. He makes a nice job of going up and getting the ball at its highest point, but watch that right foot comes down out of bounds. Good call by the official.
And Curtis Nash wanted to make sure as well as he had his arm around his left leg. There's no way that leg was going to land in bounds. Just to be sure, right? Punting situation for John Ryan, standing at his 20. He will be punting into a breeze. He averages just over 38. It's been a tough day on the kickers, even when they're kicking with the wind. This one, low, a smart kick against the breeze. And Lebucky has it on the return and gets up close to midfield. And taken down. It'll be St. Mary's football, trailing by 3. 3 in the third quarter. Once again, here's Alex J. Walling.
With the president, Dr. Tradition, Regina don't have it, they're getting it, but here at St. Mary's and this crowd, you have a tradition behind you.
We definitely do, and it's just a repeat of last year, I hope.
What about your thoughts on the game?
Well, it's a real game, and we're having a great time here, and, you know, they're making a real game of it, Regina.
Dr. Dodge, thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, and back upstairs to the booth.
Thank you, Alex. Husky football after the punt return by Lebucky, setting it up near midfield at their 54. Ryan Jones standing under center. Handing off. Luis Perez back in the game. He missed the entire drive as he let Dean Jones have a little bit of fun. And Perez, who has a touchdown in this one, gets a good gain again on first down up to the Regina 50. It'll be second and 4.
Blake Neal deciding to keep both backs fresh and in the football game. Blake Neal On the sideline doing the X's and O's with the defense.
And although Regina leads, and although Regina has been the better team so far overall, the one fear is this: running the football. And St. Mary's is doing it wonderfully right now. Another first down for the Huskies. And driving into Regina territory.
And I tell you, does it ever take such pressure off of the quarterback, Ryan Jones? But there is also a danger that you run the ball so much you don't throw it at all. You kind of take the quarterback out of the rhythm of the game.
Luis Perez has exceeded the 100-yard mark again, as he did many times during the regular season. Ran for over 1,000 in the 8 games in the regular season, averaging 8.5 a carry, and he's averaged just about that in this game. They run the play-action fake. They throw. Jay Curry with it. Inside the 30, first down again to the 23. And there's the pass you were talking about.
That's good. They're starting to really mix it up now. St. Mary's side. Ryan Jones, little semi-roll. They take Jay Curry. They just go down to playing zone defense, Regina, and he just finds that hole, and he sits in the hole. Then he does the right thing here. He just catches the ball, then he turns directly north and gets going up the field. Doesn't try to dance around. He gets the first down.
Ball marked just inside the 24-yard line. Huskies on the move, trailing by a field goal. And an exciting Atlantic Bowl. Patrick Tebow on the reverse. Picks up yardage inside the 20. It'll be second down, St. Mary's. Tebow, who's been a big part of this offense during the season, but used very sparingly today.
And you know what? If Tebow had just waited a little bit longer, Charlie Toth was pulling with him, had him outside, looked like he had a really good block on Zimmer. But then Tebow tried to cut it up too soon. He didn't wait enough for the block. If he had waited for the block, Charlie Toth was there.
Pickup of about 4 yards. 2nd and 6 on the toss. Luis Perez gets outside, gets ridden out of bounds. It's Lee Moffitt taking him out, shy of a first down. In fact, he only gained about 1 yard. So we have a field goal situation now, which would tie the game.
And this has been a position for St. Mary's that they've had trouble with this year with their field goal kicking. Last week, Breckenworth did not play last week in the Jewett Trophy game, and he's coming onto the field now to attempt a field goal. They activated him for this game.
And so Chris Breckenridge will put it down, puts his tee down at the 26-yard line.
First-year player out of St. Pat's High School in Sarnia, Ontario.
This is to tie the Atlantic Bowl. From 26 yards away. No, it's wide. No doubt about it as he pushes it wide to the left. So they get a point, but they still trail by 2 here in the 3rd quarter. Ashdown on that drive. A field goal wouldn't do, of course. They were trailing by 4, but the heartbreak for him. He's had a wonderful season this year. The Heck Triton nominee from the Atlantic University Conference. And trying to get back, trying to make it right. The whole team is. But they're trailing by 2 after a missed field goal, a missed 26-yarder by Chris Breckenridge. So Darrell Leeson and the Rams have the ball again. Throwing, nearly intercepted. You can really see the effect of the wind on the ball as well, as that falls incomplete.
Well, Mark Irwin was right in the backfield with Darrell Leeson. They tried to run play-action pass, and he's a defensive tackle, but he was in there like a shot. And Derek Watson almost came down with the interception. But St. Mary's are starting to get some pressure with just their front 4. They're not having to bring a lot of linebackers, and that's got to... Frank McChrystal has to be concerned about that.
We have not seen from Leeson in the second half so far what we did in the first, although this is just their second possession here in the 3rd quarter. Just under 10 minutes. Pressure on Leeson, gets it away. Nobody near. Claremont's the closest. He's 15 yards away. A little mix-up in routes as it falls out of bounds at a 3rd down. Regina to be punted.
Yeah, this is not what Regina wanted to get into, having 2 and out, that kind of thing, especially in the second half, holding on to a slim lead, wanting to drive the ball again like they did in the 1st quarter against the wind.
And this time, the wind looked to be a little bit more of a factor, Jamie, on some of Leeson's passes anyway. It's still swirling around in more of a cross breeze right now, but we'll see what sort of effect it has on the punter, John Ryan, as he stands back about his 20-yard line. It's actually 5:45 showing in the clock here in three-quarter time. And it's high, and it's certainly not too deep. Taken down by the Huskies, close to midfield. They'll have a good position to work with there. Karche Shields taking it on that short return for St. Mary's, but they'll start again just inside their own territory.
Tackled by Danny Pascu.
And see who comes out to play running back this time for St. Mary's.
A reminder, NFL primetime tomorrow on TSN, and a battle in the AFC Central. The Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Steelers in Pittsburgh, and you can watch it here. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time on TSN. First down, Huskies. Dean Jones taking the handoff from Ryan and picking up about 3 or 4 yards for St. Mary's. They try to keep it on the ground.
Gain of 4 in the play, 2nd and 6.
Dean Jones not carrying the ball as much as Luis Perez, only 43 yards this afternoon, but an effective 43.
And led to a touchdown, the only point scored. You don't count the single here in the second half. Paul Fleming, he's a touchdown in this game, and he has a big reception inside the Regina 40 down to the 37. First down, St. Mary's. They're moving again.
Paul Fleming out of Bishop Ryan High School in Hamilton. In his 3rd year here with the Huskies.
It was Paul Fleming's birthday the other day. They gave him a cake, and they smeared it in his face, and big Charlie Toth, who goes over 350, didn't want to waste any, so we are told he licked it off his face just to make sure it didn't just get thrown out. Charlie's big 54 up there, making some holes. There's Dean Jones looking for some holes, and he finds some room, gets it inside the 35.
You're just disappointed that you weren't there, right? You're just
sure. Hey, I agree with Charlie. There he is. I agree with him. You can't waste any of the icing, no matter where it is, right?
Well, speaking of birthdays, it's actually Curtis Nash's birthday today, the defensive back, number 12 for St. Mary's. And I also have to get this in. It's my son's birthday today, 8 years old. Happy birthday, Stevenson.
Happy birthday. 8 years old, my goodness. A future QB, I suppose? Dad hopes? On some days, when they're not getting punished, right? Look at this. Dean Jones in the reverse. Finally taken out of bounds by Bunnell. But another first down, another running first down for St. Mary's, and they're back down at the 20.
If there's a lasting impression of Dean Jones every time he runs the ball, there is a flag on the field. But you know what? He always makes the first guy miss. The first guy never gets it. Look, there it is. There, the guy's gone. He makes the second guy miss here. But the first guy never brings him down. They're calling this back because of holding. Blake Nill doesn't like that.
We haven't seen penalties as a big factor so far in this game. That's certainly one of them. The way they were moving down, what it amounts to over a 20-yard difference, of course, because it nullifies a great play and pushes them 10 yards further back. They're 2nd and long now. About 16 yards to go. From the Regina 43. St. Mary's, all the momentum in the second half, but they still trail, setting up a screen. And they get it to Dean Jones. Flag down. He's down. Around the 37. Flag was taken down just as he was being tackled.
It's against St. Mary's again. I'm sure Regina will decline this. Maybe not. You know, I'm kind of surprised at the call screen because, you know, Regina haven't really been getting a lot of pressure on Ryan Jones when he throws, and that's usually what you want to do is to hold that pressure back.
Ineligible receiver downfield. 5-7 St. Mary's is declined. 3rd down.
Referee Bob Butler, in his final year, 42 years, a football referee. And I know he did some games that you played in, and some I played in as well.
And his parting words today, and we saw him at the hotel, he said, "Be nice to us today."
That's right.
We said, "We're always nice to you."
of the great officials in Canadian university sport, Bob Butler. On third down now. Oh, good pressure there by Jeff Zimmer, Regina. And it's taken by Ashman for the Rams. Finds some room and gets taken down by Stephen Marquez with a flag down in the field. Regina football, and they're leading by 2 here on TSN in Halifax. Toronto for the Vanier Cup. Perhaps if their Huskies can make it, if you need a ticket, here's the number to call. And we'll have it for you here on TSN Live, as we always do from Skydome for Eastern. Who let the dogs out? Tough dogs today, you betcha. The wind picking up. It's tough on a fan today, but it's football weather, right? Just dress warm.
This is really going to be an important series for Regina right now. They have the wind in their faces. 2 minutes, 53 seconds left. St. Mary's want to force them to kick the ball into the wind. Plus, they got them right up against the shadow of their own goal line. This is going to be a big defensive stand for both teams, or a big stand for both teams, defensively for St. Mary's and offensively for Regina.
And Regina's thrown the ball so well. The one thing, unlike St. Mary's, that they haven't been able to really do is establish any kind of sustained ground game, albeit Darrell Leeson has shown he can run the ball.
Right.
But Leeson in the second half, this is his third possession, 1 for 4 for 14 yards. He had a dynamite first 30 minutes of play. Deep in their own zone, and there's Leeson running. He's been their leading rusher today, and he gets Regina a big first down. A little less pressure on the Rams now.
And that's a classic example of man coverage, how it hurts you sometimes, because, you know, nobody accounts for the quarterback. So the defensive backs here all turn and run with the receivers. And so he's still running down the field, and they're still running down the receivers. They can't come up and force him outside until he gets 12 or 13 yards.
He has been a very smart quarterback today in his reads, his decisions on running. He has run it very well. The ex-Calgary Dino. An all-Canadian when he played in Calgary. Running for 73 yards so far.
It's a bit of a surprise. John Ryan is in playing receiver, number 15. He's their punter.
And a backup receiver, although we hadn't seen him at any point in this game. The rookie Ryan in there. Leeson throwing. He finds his favorite target right now. Getting it out there to Jason Claremont. He's got a couple of touchdowns in this game as Frank McChrystal looks on at his Rams, trying to get out of some trouble here and get the wind at their backs in the fourth quarter. They still have a 2-point lead.
Now, we've talked a lot about Darrell Leeson's being the runner and also the quarterback, but did you know he has a touchdown reception this year as well? A 16-yarder. They ran an option, and then he went around the end, and they threw it to him, and he scored has a touchdown pass to his credit as well.
Wind's getting stronger again, and it is swirling. Looking at the flags here at Husky Stadium, it's blowing mostly against the Rams, but also a bit of a cross breeze as well. They won't have to worry about that in a few minutes' time. Another flag down, and it looks like early movement by St. Mary's. It's only 1:12 actually on the clock until three-quarter time.
Eric Lyman was in the backfield before the ball was even snapped, I believe, unless they're going to call procedure against Regina.
Down 5 yards up.
Or does that ever change the complexion of this next play?
Move it up 5 at 2nd and short now.
They would have been punting in that last situation against the wind.
There's another penalty working against St. Mary's.
Well, then a first down is so important here, not only because they want to keep driving the ball, but if they punt the ball now, if they stop them here, they're going to have to punt into the wind. If they get a first down, if they stop them the next time, they'll punt with the wind. So there could be an exchange of about 30, 40 yards of field position based on this play.
Leeson, despite 2nd and short, he throws. It's a first down. And it's Olenek again on the receiving end, and he gets it out to the 34. More good work by that Regina offense. And really for the first time here in the second half. Getting another drive going. They've had some long ones today.
And really nothing fancy there, you know. When he comes out, he's just Olenek's the inside receiver, lines up fullback, then goes to the slot position and just does a 5-yard out. And Leeson just kind of semi-rolls and deals it to him. Now Leeson's looking at the clock now with 43 seconds left, so he realizes in 2 more plays he's probably going to get the win.
And the way they're going, they may still have the ball by the time the quarter runs out. Turn around and go the other way. Little fake, dumping it off again. Olenek again. First down, another big hit. A lot of hard hitting, and Olenek is still lying down. Slow to get up. But he is up and appears to be okay. And those hits hurt even more when it's this cold.
You know, it's funny. I mean, last week, Blake Neal was talking about how Hughes had that big game, 10 catches. Why doesn't anybody cover him? Well, now I'm sure people at home might just be saying, hey, how come they don't cover Olenek? He's wide open coming out of the backfield. Same play we saw before.
That's Curtis Nash doing the popping in there on Olenek.
And I guarantee you, it wasn't the players saying, ooh, ooh, it was the coaches and the players in the sidelines when they heard it.
This will be the last play of the quarter. The clock ticks down to the zeros, and on that first down play, Leeson is just taken down, but they will indeed have the ball to start the final quarter.
Tackle on the play by number 45.
And they will just barely be in their own territory at about their 50-yard line. As they do wave the flag. Switch ends, 2-point lead, and the wind at their backs. 15 minutes away from a trip to a national championship. The fourth quarter is coming up on TSN. And some concerns for this man, head coach Blake Neal, who sees his St. Mary's team win the third quarter 8-0, but they could have had more points. A missed field goal, a 26-yarder, means they still trail by 2 heading into this final 15. And what's worse, Regina got themselves out of a serious jam deep in their own zone with a nice drive that was kept going by an offside penalty where they would have had to punt. Instead, they are still on the move, and they're out to their 50 now, and a second down and about 8.5 yards to go after a short gain by Leeson to end the third. Blake Neal has seen these situations before, but if you discount a Mount Allison game where they only won by 6, he really hasn't seen it in a long time, not since Laval last year at the Vanier.
No, exactly. And, you know, we want to draw comparisons to that and what's going on here today, but you know, we just saw that highlight a little while ago where they were on the 1-yard line against Laval, had a chance to kind of really take the momentum. The score was tied 7-all at that time, and here they're behind by 2. They have the win. You know, they had to stop Regina there. This could be entirely different right now. They could be in the lead.
We've seen highlights. We've showed you them during this telecast of some close Atlantic bowls in the past. 1990, the dramatic touchdound by St. Mary's to knock off Western. They went on to the Vanier. And 95 Acadia and Western was exciting too. 55-45, 100-point game. Larry Justanis, the Axeman, they just had no quit. They kept coming back. And this one, we haven't seen one team really running away with it, although it was 21-14, it was 21-7, excuse me, a 2-touchdown lead early by Regina. But it's been, for the most part, a pretty close football game, led most of the way by the Rams. Passing, second down, Claremont has it, a first down. Oh, what a big play, Regina. Leeson to Claremont, clicks again, and they're inside the SMU 40.
Well, that's a big play for Regina. And Leeson just gets back in the pocket, and you know, when you're really in trouble and it comes crunch time, who do you go look for? You look for your favorite receiver. Looks at it, puts it right on the numbers. And you know, Claremont's a big guy, but he doesn't run like he's 6'4", 220 pounds. Runs like a much smaller man, very agile. Having a huge game, 6 catches, 104 yards, 1 touchdown. Receiving.
And he had the 1 rushing as well. Leeson gets it away. Ostapowicz is the intended receiver who hasn't had a catch all day, Shane Ostapowicz. And that one falls incomplete out of bounds.
Pretty evenly matched, these stats after 3. Regina still has the edge in the passing department. Time of possession favors St. Mary's. They seem to have the ball a lot in the third quarter.
They hold the balance of power on the ground, which would really work to their favor if they had the lead the way they've been able to chew it up for the most part, but they're still trailing. And no sign of let up in this Rams offense. This is another very good drive by Regina. It's extended into this fourth quarter, but he's taken down. Mark Irwin with the sack on Darrell Leeson. Leeson goes down way back at the 50.
And you know, Mark Irwin has been so close today. We talked about him earlier, and this time he gets in there and just blows by the offensive lineman and gets into Darrell Leeson's face. And Leeson's smart. takes the sack. Don't throw it up. Out of Grimsby, Ontario. See, he just gets tapped in the behind, right over there, number 47, to the left of your screen, comes right in. You see that last little shift at the end caused confusion because the guard, number 52, Greg Hamilton, didn't even take him. He went out to try and take the defensive end.
So punting. Ryan, pressure, they got it. Kyle Morrison blocks it, and he's got the ball, and he's gone. Kyle Morrison, touchdown, St. Mary's.
St. Mary's decided to come with pressure, and right up the middle, number 40, Kyle Morrison, who played Australian rules football when he grew up in Australia, makes the block, picks up the ball, and then he runs it in and gives St. Mary's the lead.
What a turn of events here in Halifax as Breckenridge converts. And St. Mary's leads for the first time since their first drive of the game when they got a touchdown. They're up by 5 here in Halifax. The St. Mary's Huskies into the lead here in the fourth quarter. Kyle Morrison, their Metris Trophy nominee for top lineman in the country. And because of it, St. Mary's is getting a step closer to getting another shot at a Vanier Cup. Boy, if ever there's a team that can't be written off, it's Regina. But here's what happened. Special teams, Jamie, ultimately, that's what it boils down to.
Let's take a look. The two guys involved here. There's Kyle Morrison right there, and there's Bosovich right here. Now, he's going to have to step up and block him. You're supposed to block, take him right into the numbers, but he tries to throw a chicken wing at him. Just one little arm out there. That's not good enough. Morrison ends up blocking it. Then he scoops up his own block, and then he just rambles down the field for 6.
Last week in the first quarter against Acadia, Kyle Morrison had an interception for a touchdown in a big game. Also with 3 sacks in that one. And we haven't said his name a lot, but he now has his team in the lead as Olenek takes it. Now first down. Corey Olenek back in. He was shaken up a little bit in the previous set of downs, but boy, Regina just looks like it's going to march right back down again. This could be a very exciting finish here in Halifax.
I'll tell you what, you look at that last play there. It looks like a little innocent out. I'll tell you what, he was almost a step away from breaking that thing all the way. Curtis Nash pushed him. He didn't go out of bounds, and then he just stepped out later on. But if he had missed him, he was gone.
First down near midfield at their 53. The Rams trailing for the first time since early in this game, and they're down by 5. Off the hands of Neil Hughes, and could have been picked off if Matthew Demers had been a little bit closer. So a good break for the Rams there, and it'll be second down.
Now pass thrown on timing, and Darrell Leeson, he has a rocket of an arm. He's throwing with the wind right now, and Neil Hughes just wasn't ready for that pass.
The thing you have to remember about this Rams team, there's still so much time left in the clock. They trailed Calgary by a couple of touchdowns. They trailed a lot in Winnipeg last week. They were down. They needed a touchdown in the final minute of the game. They're used to being in this situation.
Well, Leeson threw three touchdown passes in that game against Calgary.
He's throwing a pass there. Claremont nearly had a beautiful catch. Got one hand on it, tried to bring it down, but it goes incomplete. And now Regina will be punting.
Good job by Curtis Nash, number 12 against Claremont. You got quite a mismatch in size. The ball's thrown up nice and high, but Curtis Nash does a good job of coming underneath and disrupting Claremont. As we said earlier today, it's his birthday today. So I don't know if he's 24 or if he's 25. Maybe he's 20. Yeah, it must be 24 today.
John Ryan will try it again. You know what happened the last time he tried this moments ago from about the same spot on the field. I'm sure they'll be keeping a better eye up the middle now, especially Kyle Morrison. He blocked it, took it for a touchdown. High snap, some pressure. Doug Borton in there, but he does get it away. And a good punt. Josh Labuki on the return for St. Mary's. Gets it up across the 20. Husky ball and the lead. here, but once this is done, we will take you to Hamilton and the home of the McMaster Marauders, who will host the Churchill Bowl in the Ottawa GGs. John Wells and Glenn Suter. That's coming up next here on TSN, part 2 of our CIAU semifinal doubleheader, setting the matchup for the Vanier Cup in 2 weeks' time at Skydome in Toronto, December 2nd. Will it be the Huskies or the Regina Rams? Luis Perez, big game, stays on his feet. On the ground, another first down for St. Mary's. It's been the bread and butter of this game for the Huskies.
What a great run, too. And, you know, the key to his, not only great vision here, but if you're going to teach a running back, you got to keep your feet moving all the time. All the time. Take a look at his feet. They never stop. Even when he gets hit, they never stop. He keeps them going, keeps them going, keeps them going. Gives him a chance to regain his balance. He's a dynamite back. Not very big. You know, he's only 5'9", 190 pounds. Plays much bigger than that.
Discussion on the Husky sideline with Patrick Thibault bringing in a play.
There's Regina Ram down on the field.
Injured Regina player.
Where to work, all line, where to work, guys, come on.
It's 29-24 in the fourth quarter here in Halifax. We'll be back. Up in his own steam, but he's out right now, and Luis Perez is busting more yardage for SMU up to their 50 and another first down. Cherkis is okay. He, as mentioned, left under his own steam, but missed seeing that as Luis Perez continues to chew up yardage up the middle.
And Luis Perez is excited. You can see him extolling his teammates in the crowd. Come on, let's go. 140 yards rushing so far this afternoon. 2 touchdowns, pretty good afternoon so far. We've got 10 minutes left.
And now with the lead, this ground game is so much more important because it just kills the clock. And Perez keeping it between the hash marks and down inside the 40. Another huge gain. Rams missing tackles, and it's another big first down.
But did you see the block on that counter by Jean-Michel Sauvin, number 61? This is an incredible block. They run the counter here, 61, just engulfs the defender, puts him right on his back, and that springs Perez. I mean, that is just well-executed football.
Getting down to the 10-minute mark now. The clock just ticking away as they keep it on the ground. It's Eric O'Keefe with a big gain. That middle has been open. And another first down for the Huskies. Right now, moving it at will along the ground.
I think Regina are just surprised right now. But you know what's happening? St. Mary's offensive line are getting off the ball so well that the defensive line from Regina just cannot disengage in time, and the back's by.
Hakeem gets it down to the 25. We're under 10. Still lots of time. But this Ram defense suddenly faced with the problem of stopping that run. And they do stop it there, especially Luis Perez, who gets short yardage for a change, albeit maybe 3 or 4 yards on that. See where they actually spot it.
You know, it's amazing how things change in this game. Earlier in the game, when Blake Noah was complaining about the clock running when it shouldn't be running because his team was behind. I'm now sure he wouldn't be complaining about that. His team's ahead. He's trying to burn off as much time as he possibly can. You don't want to give Darrell Leeson a chance to come back on you.
It is a very good test for the Huskies, given the opposition they've had in the Atlantic Conference this year. They're not used to close games like this, but they're making the most of it. Leading by 5, Dean Jones. Another first down and gets it closer. Taken out of bounds and around the 6-yard line. So we see more of Jones now, and it's the great tandem that the Huskies have had with Jones and, sorry,
Rod. You know, the thing is, when you watch teams block, I'm just impressed by the blocking up front here. Watch how they sustain the blocks. They sustain them. They don't just hit and then guys release. They sustain. And that allows Dean Jones to get outside and almost get in for 6.
Clock continues to tick. 10 minutes. Trying to punch it in. Eric O'Keefe.
It's over, it's over.
You know, we saw Keane there come up and kind of hit nothing, like just a wall. But see what that wall did? It moved forward. I mean, that wall moved about 3 yards forward. It tells you who's winning that battle up in the line of scrimmage.
Takes it down inside the 2, where it'll be 2nd and goal. They can punch it in here. It's a 2-touchdown game with about 8 minutes left. And the Rams, who dominated so much of this game, would find themselves in a big hole. There it is. Luis Perez with a flag going down, however. This one might be coming back.
I think they're going to call holding against St. Mary's. And you can see the middle linebacker, Misha Bosovic, get up complaining that he was held and dragged down.
Mary's. Second down repeated. 64. Second down repeated.
Called on Stephen Morley, the left tackle. So they put him back 10, and they're still in a goal-to-goal situation, but it'll be second down and about 12 yards to go for the touchdown.
That's a big holding penalty.
And if they don't get it in here, we're set up with another short field goal try that could put them up by 8. Chance for redemption for Chris Breckenridge, but
it also depends on how close they get to the first down.
looking for the end zone. Coming up just shy. Patrick Tebow on the receiving end.
So I think Neil's going to go for it here.
And it'll be third down. They need to get it in. It's goal to go. And it looks like they indeed will be going for the touchdown. Close enough to give it a try. Ball down near the 1. What a big play is coming. Perez outside, good speed, touchdown.
You know, we talk about Perez being a north-south runner. There are times when you want to run east-west, and that was one time you want to do that.
This one does count.
They're trying to run the same play they ran for the touchdown they got called back. And Perez again sees it. It's not there. Just kicks it outside. Keeps kicking and kicking and kicking. And now it's just a foot race to the corner to get in. And he wins that easily.
With the convert, it is a 2-touchdown game. 36-24, a 12-point lead for SMU over Regina with 7 minutes to go. Taste of water. They're starting to get a taste of something else. They can feel the trip back to the Vanier Cup, but they're taking down a Regina team on this kick return here by Neil Hughes. Still on his feet. Hughes trying to break it, he does. Neil Hughes is gone. How about that? No flags. Touchdown Rams.
Wow. Wow, what a player Neil Hughes is. What a player. You know, big games, big players step up, and I'll tell you what, this guy did it last week against Manitoba, and Frank McChrystal, Mr. Emotional, you can see right there, just as stunned as all the crowd are here, but that was a heck of a run by Neil Hughes.
You know, I had wanted to make the point that with 6.5 minutes to go 2 weeks ago in Calgary, they were down by 14 and they came back and won. They're down by 12 and not down by 12 anymore.
And you know, he does a lot of this on his own right there. He gets stopped, stuffed, and he just keeps his feet going. Then he cuts it back, and once you cut it back, you can get some angles in the blocks, and now it's a foot race. And he outruns the kicker, Breckenridge,
Neil
into the end
Hughes,
zone.
89 yards, and I wonder if the Calgary Dinos or Manitoba Bisons are watching this game now, what they're thinking. Watching a Regina team that just has no quit at all. This Atlantic Bowl is still very much undecided. Midway through the quarter, a 5-point game. A kick return, 89 yards to keep the Rams in it.
Dynamite play. He was going to be going to the right side. He takes the initial hit, bounces back, keeps his feet, gets away from another couple of tacklers, and now he breaks into the open. He's just got to outrun the kicker. Make no mistake about it, Neil Hughes was going for 6.
And for Regina to be down by 5 with 6 minutes to go is still plenty of time. They got some momentum back, too, as St. Mary's on the return of Karche Shields up across his 30 to the 33. Neil Hughes broke his arm earlier in the season. Back in September, missed about 3 weeks, came back. And what a valuable part of this Regina team, especially in recent weeks. with his running, especially his receiving.
Let's go, D. Let's go, D.
Over 200 yards and receptions last week in Winnipeg. Over 400 all-purpose yards if you count the kick returning, and I think he did a number for his all-purpose right there with 89 on that kickoff return. Luis Perez. St. Mary's still with the lead and back to the ground game on first down, and a good game up across to about the 37. It'll be second down and about 4.
Looks like Regina's defense starting to tighten up a little bit. They feel they have some momentum. And we've seen some huge momentum shifts in this game, and it's really been quite incredible.
Really has, and it is somewhat reminiscent. We talked 5 years ago about Western and Acadia, and back and forth they went. Lots of offense, lots of big plays. Perez! Oh, they've got him stuffed. And a flag is down. Dropped as he got the ball. Kevin Barron was in there, 63 Regina. Looks like it's against St. Mary's.
And I think they'll decline it and they'll get the ball back. It's a big defensive series for Regina, 2 and out.
St. Mary's, number 64. Holding, decline, third down.
He's been caught twice.
Stephen Morley was caught before in a touchdown that was called back. They ended up getting that touchdown. But called here again.
Good job by the Regina front 7 to get in there. You see everybody playing up real tight. Nice job to get inside there and force it out. That was Lee Cherkis, number 64.
And there is the punt, and a good one against the breeze. Best one of the day for Stallett. And Hughes bobbles at that time, but he ends up picking it up, and they've got him wrapped up at the Regina 35, just inside. Rams have the ball. They trail by 5 with 5:22 to go in the 4th.
What you got there, Sucky baby? Cough drops. You got
to Corey Olenek. And he gets it up across the 45, so the sticks move, and Regina right away with a little more than 5 minutes left. Lots of time to march downfield again here in this 4th quarter.
It's funny, they have that play whenever they want it. You know, it seems like whenever they want to get a first down or get, 8-9 yards, they seem to run Olenek out of the backfield and just that little turnout about 5 yards up the field.
We have seen many great games in the past, and this one is shaping up as one of them now. Here in the present in the Atlantic Bowl, that falls incomplete. Gleason knocked down afterwards, but it'll be second down and 10.
I think Gleason was looking for John Ryan there. It was supposed to be an out, and Ryan just kept running up the field.
We saw Frank McChrystal a moment ago. This is a man that is used to championships. He took over coaching the Regina Rams junior team in 1984. In the 90s alone, they won 5 in the 6-year run they had up until they joined the CIAU. And even though they're young, you sense there are a lot of people there that are used to winning.
And maybe that's why when Neil Hughes ran that back for the touchdown, didn't show much emotion. It's because I've seen it all.
They've been there before. At a different level, yes, but look at what they're doing now. So close in the Atlantic Bowl. Dumping it off there, though. They'll be punting. On that second down, and Leeson just threw it away. Kyle Morrison was all over him.
Yeah, Doug Borden, number 77. We talked about him, the big defensive tackle, 6'4", 315. Leeson does have time here initially, but they have good coverage downfield. Just not opening up for him. Then you see Borden gets in there. Leeson does a smart thing, throwing the ball away, not to take the sack.
And not to take anything away from Kyle Morrison, but no, of course, Doug Borden.
We were talking here just a minute ago, but I think the wind has shifted. I think the wind is now in Regina's face. I don't think
it's certainly going across. It's no longer in their favor, and good pressure there by Borden as he quickly got in. He's been close a couple of times. Labuki on the return. Cormier nearly had him, and Labuki gets it up to the 25. So St. Mary's defense holds, and they're trying to hold on with a 5-point lead to get back to the Vanier Cup. Inside their 25, he's passing. Off to the side to Karche Shields. Good catch. And a reach back for it. He won't get anything. He fumbles. Regina football. Jeff Zimmer recovers it. After Karche Shields coughs it up. A dramatic turn of events again as Regina has it at the 26-yard line. St. Mary's down by 5.
I mean, he's looking down the field here. He throws it out to Karche Shields, who makes a great catch, but right at the line of scrimmage. Now he's trying to get some more. The ball gets knocked away by Zimmer, and then he recovers it himself. Looking downfield, nothing there. Just dishes it off to the outside. This is a great catch. And then Zimmer comes in here and knocks it out right there. The ball bounces away, and then he jumps on it.
23-year-old Jeff Zimmer. In possibly his final game, he'd like his final one to come next week. He said that he wouldn't be back next year. End zone! Oh, Darrell Eason tried for his younger brother Michael Eason there, but just a little bit too far. And it's second down.
It's good coverage by St. Mary's out there. Leasing put it in the only place that his brother had a chance, Mike, to catch it. Derek Watson doing a good job covering. Oh, he shows a little bit of emotion every now and then.
About as much as you'll see right now. A young CIAU team, a very experienced football coach. Good job by Hughes to make the block so that they can complete the pass, and it's coughed up. A live ball.
St. Mary's.
St. Mary's football.
Now he's trying to go over and say, I didn't have possession of that ball. Olenek trying to plead his case, but that decision's been made.
Olenek made the catch, and on the fumble, the last ones to touch it were the Huskies.
Leeson under tremendous pressure right here. Gets picked up in the blitz. He puts it out there. Now Olenek turns around. I'll tell you what, look like both of them had it. So, you know, it's a good call by the official. It looked like possession was gained by either one of them. They both seemed to have possession of it. Came down, the ball knocked loose. St. Mary's takes over on their own 3-yard line.
So they trade turnovers. St. Mary's is still hemmed in deep, but they'll take it. They have their 5-point lead. And they'll keep it on the ground this time. Dean Jones with it up across the 15. Another good running play. St. Mary's, another first down as they try to get themselves out of trouble. 2:35 on the clock now.
Well, Regina had to do a big gut check here right now and stop St. Mary's from running the ball and running time off the clock. A little bit different in the rushing department for St. Mary's. 266 yards on the ground today. But only 91 for Regina.
And they keep it on the ground. It's Perez this time. And a short gain on first down. Excuse me, Dean Jones.
Now, I think coming up here, Rod, could be really almost the play of the game here for Regina because you've got 2 minutes and 13 seconds left. St. Mary's are going to keep letting the clock run down. Oh, they've called a timeout. That's what I was going to thought. They might have to call a timeout here.
This is a huge play, obviously, and it's interesting to point out last week, going back in the Rams' recent history, with a little over 2 minutes, they had the ball on their 23-yard line, trailing by 4, which is essentially the same as trailing by 5. They need a touchdown. They drove down an 11-play drive against the Manitoba defense that had been pretty good against them, and they were stunned by that drive.
But what did Frank McChrystal say to us this morning? He said the reason that his team had gotten this far, he thought, in the 2 playoff games was they did not turn the ball over in any of those games. And now we see a turnover here, and it could be costly for them.
And they were trying to benefit from a turnover, so no, but you're right. It could prove to be their undoing unless they can take it and drive it here, although as you had pointed out earlier, this wind is hard to figure out. Right now it's more of a cross breeze, but it's been blowing all over the place, so depending on what kind of punt we would get. Right now it's second and long, though, and St. Mary's is trying to sustain a drive. If they
the ball here, I don't think they should throw it here, right? So Regina have to show you that they can stop the run, and they haven't shown it yet.
It's second and long, and they go to the toss, and it's Dean Jones. And he knifes his way along, but he does not have a first down, so good work by Regina's defense. They will be punting.
And, you know, that was the call that, you know, I think it was the right call. Regina dug deep down inside of themselves right now, and they came up with a gut check, forcing St. Mary's to punt. And this is all Darrell Eason wanted. He just wanted another chance. Now, Frank McChrystal's going to call a timeout, I believe. And that's a good call because you can't stop the clock when they are on defense.
An Atlantic Conference team has not beaten a Canada West team in an Atlantic Bowl since 1992 when St. Mary's beat Calgary. Going back 3 years, Mount Allison lost to UBC, and before then it was Saskatchewan winning as well over St. Mary's.
We also saw a pretty close game when UBC and Mount A played in here because it looked like the game was over.
And it
Mount
ended
8
up
made
being
that,
it was a 5-point game.
Mount 8 came back and threw those 2 long touchdown passes, and they were right back in it. And it was a 3rd down and 8 play that they had made it. They were down around the UBC 20-yard line.
A close finish here in Halifax. What a great game it's been, and more in store from Hamilton with the GGs and the McMaster Marauders. Whoever can finish things off here will await the winner of that game, the Churchill Bowl, which is coming up here on TSN. Frank McChrystal, a Regina native, a former linebacker with these Regina Rams and a longtime coach. Neil Hughes had a kick return for a touchdown and a play that makes some sense. They're going to take the 2. Dave Stalla with the ball, and he runs it out past the dead ball line. 2 on the board for Regina to make it a 3-point game at 36.
You know what? I personally don't agree with that call at all. I think
33.
I think
you don't like it?
I don't like it at all.
Because it sets up Regina for a field goal.
Absolutely. I mean, unless the only thing I can think of Blake Nell doing that is that he thinks that I'm going to put the ball over to Frank McChrystal's court, and I'm going to say to you, you got to make a decision coming down here at the end. When are you going to go for it? When are you going to kick the field goal? If he doesn't do that, there's only one thing Frank's got to do. That's score a touchdown. So now
the only thing I can think of, though, is St. Mary's is 1 bad punt away from handing them the ball at St. Mary's 40 or 45, maybe 50.
That's true.
But at the very worst, I'd say that they were going to start at midfield, whereas this way, at least they get to kick off and hem them deeper.
Except what happened the last time they kicked off.
True enough. Well, we'll bring that up. Oh, use the Neil Hughes argument.
That's right.
Trying to impress everybody, just like he is.
You want to make a bet they won't kick it to Neil Hughes this time?
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I think they'll squib kick it down the field.
We'll see Ashman over on the other side, 26, and hit it his way.
Well, they should both try and stand sideways so nobody sees what number they're wearing.
But an interesting finish, 1:56 on the clock, and as Jamie pointed out, they're now within a field goal. John Ryan, the rookie.
They're sending it into overtime.
Could be. The tension on the sidelines, you can only imagine. For a brief moment before the Hughes return for the touchdown, well, you've seen sidelines celebrate before. I remember the Western Mustangs celebrating with a big lead, a 20-point lead against Saskatchewan in the '94 Vanier Cup.
That's right.
Only to see that celebration gradually fade as Saskatchewan came back and forced overtime. Hughes with the ball. He gets it. He's got a return going. Neil Hughes. Here we go. Hughes. Could he do it again? Oh, they take him down at the 10. Josh Labuki with the saving tackle, but Regina is in scoring position with 1:45 on the clock.
And you got to ask yourself, why would you kick to him? Why would you kick to him? He just killed you the last time.
And
you
there
don't
was
kick
no
to him
effort
again.
to put it over the other way.
I mean, this is just, I mean, it was a great play by Labuki at the end here to catch up to him. Although, you know what, in some ways it's a great play, but if they're going to score here, you almost would rather have them score now so you can get the ball back, because time is going to be St. Mary's enemy if Regina score. And plus, how big is that safety now? Because they're in field goal range. Even if they don't score, they get a chance to kick the field.
Well, as I said, I agree with you. I mean, they should have punted, right?
They should have.
No, I didn't agree.
Two mistakes.
But I'll agree with you now. Not looking. St. Mary's takes a timeout. Boy, Neil Hughes is just. He killed Manitoba last week, and he is killing St. Mary's right now. Another big return.
You know what's amazing about backs like him? You know, you see, he looks like he's running full speed, but then when he sees that little opening, he's got that little extra jet that he accelerates through the hole. You know, he was 5'9", 205. Has the great wheels.
Ball is marked to just outside the 12-yard line.
Yeah, they can get a first down here. Now here is a touchdown. He was trying to come to the right, got hit by bowlers, and he bounces off, comes back inside, and now he turns on the Jets again. This time Labuki was down.
That led to the end zone. They're trying to get to the end zone again, and if they do, they'll all but secure a trip to Toronto. Leeson rolling out to his right. Touchdown, Rams.
Wow.
Chris Warneke with his second touchdown of the day. And that may put the Rams into a national championship. 1:39 on the clock. And with the convert, it would be a 4-point lead.
And Chris Warneke, in his last year of eligibility, he's one of the only Rams that loses it because of eligibility. Darrell Leeson, lots of time here to throw. Semi rolls out. He's looking at Warneke all the way. Warneke against Curtis Nash. And Warneke plays basketball at the University of Regina. That's why his eligibility is used up. And Leeson just loves what he sees. He has done this 3 weeks in a row, and now it'll be up to Regina's defense.
What a remarkable Regina team. What seems like moments ago they were down by 12. Neil Hughes, though, got him back in. Warneke puts him over the top. They're leading. Minute 36 to go.
Hey!
So if it's half as good as what we've had here, it should still be something worthy of watching, and I think it should be a very good game with a great quarterback like Ben Chapdelaine against the Ottawa U GG's defense. John Wells and Glenn Suter have that one coming up. And we'll see who they'll play. We don't know for sure. It's not done yet. But a minute and a half left. Regina, though, as Karche Shields takes it, and he ends up out of bounds.
You couldn't ask for a better kick from Regina. They're starting from their own 6-yard line. St. Mary's now with a minute 36 left to go in this game.
And here's the touchdown to put the Rams ahead.
And Leeson semi-roll out to the right, looking at Warneke in the end zone. Warneke against Curtis Nash. We talk about size differences. Curtis Nash only 5'8". We got Warneke 6'1". Warneke turns out, and Leeson puts the ball right on the numbers. But St. Mary's deep in their own end on the 6-yard line. And they have to score a touchdown.
A field goal won't do it. Trailing by 4. A little over a minute and a half on the clock. Ryan Jones out of the shotgun, and they can't be running the ball anymore the way they did. Dave Stalla takes the catch, a first down up across the 25. The hurry-up offense on as they hustle up to the line of scrimmage.
And, you know, that's too much yardage to give up if you're Regina. You got to play a little bit tighter than that. You know, I honestly think you got to play the same kind of game you've been playing. Don't go into prevent defense, because the only thing that prevent defense prevents you from is what? Winning.
SMU trying to make it a dramatic finish. Passing again. Jason Curry has it near the first down marker, just shy, about a half-yard shy.
You know, give credit to St. Mary's. I mean, they don't look like they're panicking at all. They seem to have everything under control. Good clock manipulation right now by St. Mary's. Now, see, they can huddle now because he went out of bounds.
Clock stops at 1:22, so they do get a play quickly called, and they're up on the line now. They're going to make use of every little second they have. Out of shotgun again. Ryan Jones will be throwing a lot now from here on in, under pressure. Down. They've got him. A big sack there for the Regina Rams.
I'm a little bit surprised that St. Mary's wouldn't run the ball there. I mean, second down is short. They still have enough time. They have a minute and 15 seconds left. The clock will stop when they get a first down until they move the markers and get them set again.
That was Devin Gusa with the sack, and St. Mary's has called the timeout. Blake Nill, you see him there. A tense moment, 1:13 on the clock.
I'm a bit surprised by St. Mary's doing this. I think they should be, you know, even the third down, I think they could run the ball here in third down. I mean, they've got, what, over 250 yards rushing this afternoon. You know, right now, time is not a factor for them. It's getting the first down is going to be the factor.
And they're a couple of yards shy of that, a little more than 2 yards away.
Oh, Ryan!
And this is the play that could end it, essentially right here, and send Regina off to Toronto. We should point out with the Regina Rams that their flight arrangements weren't even made to come here to Halifax. That was kind of a rallying cry for them. When they were in 2-4, the CIAU canceled their ticket reservations for Halifax, assuming they wouldn't have a shot at going, basically. And then, lo and behold, they win a couple of games. They make the playoffs. They upset some teams. And here we are. And now they're just on the verge of heading off to the Vanier Cup. St. Mary's is up against it. Jones in shotgun. He's got 4 to the left, 2 to the right. Pump fake. Looking for someone. Anyone takes off. Tries to pick it up. He doesn't. He is short.
He's short.
He is short. And Regina is starting to celebrate. They turn the ball over on downs. And the Regina Rams are 1:06 away from another stunning upset and a trip to the national championship.
You know, it looked like Jones pumps here, and then he wants to try to go deep. Doesn't see anybody. And, you know, all Regina are trying to do is contain him. They don't want to commit to him, and then they force him to run, and he's short of the first down. Pump fake, look, not there. Now he comes up. And a real good job by Lee Cherkis, number 64. Just keep him short of the first down.
And the St. Mary Huskies, St. Mary's didn't taste defeat all season long. And that one defeat, as it appears it will be now, a bitter one to swallow. Flag down in that play as Olenek has it. A 4-4 team. 2-4 as of mid-October when they got pounded by the Calgary Dinos, and it didn't look like this season had much of a future in
And
store.
also by Manitoba beat them 50-1.
At one point, yeah, Manitoba had, I think it was 47-13.
Number 36, Regina, declined, second down.
But Frank McChrystal said his biggest adjustment was he thought the age factor was a huge adjustment for his team last year. He said most starters in Canada West were about 23, 24 years of age. And he said, you know, we were much younger. He said, so he thought it was going to take him 2 to 4 years to try to get to that level. But I'll tell you what, they've arrived in year 2.
These Rams have bulled their way onto the scene, pushed people around. Into the CIAU, no wins last year. But they're on the verge of going to the championship. On second down, they just keep it on the ground and 38 seconds to go.
You know, there has never been this type of a turnaround in the CIU history, where a team that has gone 0-8 the next year has found itself in the Vanier Cup. I mean, everybody's talking, and we talk about Greg Marshall and the great job that he's done at Mac, and you're going to see them right after our game. But it's taken him 4 years to kind of build that program.
And even Laval, too. They had some bad years starting off. Although, albeit it was only in their 4th year, they won it all. And now, if they come in and beat St. Mary's right in their own field, I'm just curious how you can make Regina an underdog against either Ottawa U or McMaster.
Now, St. Mary's are going to get the ball back here, but this could be a very important field goal. If they're going to attempt the field goal, actually looks like they're going to punt it.
John Ryan.
And I think if John Ryan's smart, he should punt it to the short side of the field out of bounds. A point means nothing for you right now. Kick it out inside of the 10-yard line.
They needed a point from him in Calgary 2 weeks ago. The semifinal when they upset the Dinos. It was a tie game at 32. The ball was at the 16, but considered to avoid a return, he still needed a good punt, and they got it from him, the single, to win the game on the last play.
And they blocked one today.
That's right.
Now he's just walking away. He'll take the delay of game penalty.
They knock off, they get the clock down to 17 ticks, 17 seconds left in this 2000 Atlantic Bowl. And the Regina Rams, a name synonymous with Canadian junior football for so many years. And 2 years ago, last year was the first season, and they joined the University of Regina. And the program, in terms of the way it's controlled and everything else, has stayed the same. Still the Regina Rams, just now in the CIAU. The punt into the end zone. And popped out of bounds. On the return there is Labuki.
First of all, I don't get that. You catch the ball in the end zone, go down on one knee, you get the ball at the 35-yard line.
Yes, I mean, it's a, it's a 4-point game anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Right, it doesn't matter. Right,
they need a touchdown anyway. That's a good point.
Field position is everything. That's why I was saying to John, I thought he was going to try to kick it out of bounds and bounce back in.
So once again, the Rams get the best case scenario to that. You're right. Well, 6 seconds left. I mean,
now if you're Frank McChrystal or St. Mary's, they're going to scrimmage from the 15-yard line. No, actually, I'm sorry, the 4-yard line. You should have your defensive backs about midfield right now. You just don't want to let anything go over your head.
It comes down to this. A few seconds left for Ryan Jones. And they need a touchdown working from their end zone. Time to air it out, which he does. Lots of players down there as it's bobbled around, but it doesn't really matter. Zeros on the clock. After winning 15 national titles in junior football, these Regina Rams are going for the Vanier Cup in 2 weeks' time at Skydome in Toronto. The Regina Rams have beaten Blake Nill's St. Mary's Huskies, and I dare say they've shocked them. What a story, and what a team moving on to the national championship game of CIAU football.
And one thing you can say about the Regina Rams is that, you know, when they look like things are going against them today, they always hung in there. A younger team might not do that, but they had that leadership from Darrell Leeson.
Leeson had a fabulous game, especially in the first half. The celebrations, Kevin Barron there. The Rams rule. They win the Atlantic Pool. And this is a big reason why for the way he played, Darrell Leeson. He wanted to get back and go to a Vanier Cup, and he will be. The Rams moving on. They beat the Huskies. The Churchill Bowl is next. Let's go to John Wells and Glen Suitor.